The next word you hear will be the most famous in all of racing.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
Once again, and welcome to Eastern Pennsylvania in the Pocono Mountains. This speedway, built in 1968, and it's played host to 48 Winston Cup races, only one of which was ever had qualifying, well, rained out, washed out, or percolated up out of the ground, as happened to us on Friday. But we're set to go. The field is set by points, and we're ready to race. Mike Joy with Larry McReynolds and Darrell Waltrip. And did you like racing on this road course, oval kind of track?
It's a unique racetrack. And that's what you have to do. You got to neek up on it because this is a compromise. Everything here is compromise. Setup, performance. You can't go out here and run the car hard as it'll go. You can't put gear in it to make the car get around this track as fast as you want it to go. Everything is a compromise all day long. And don't forget, 500 miles. She's a grueler, too.
Larry, every straightaway here is a different length, every turn a different radius and a different banking. Which one of these three corners do you concentrate on?
Well, as close as the competition is, you can't give up nothing anywhere. My driver and I, we've been working together now almost 2 years. We're starting to think alike. Compromise is definitely the key word. I mean, you chase it all day long. The driver will come on the radio and he say, you know, I'm turning good in turn 3 and turn 1, but I'm way too loose in turn 2. You got to fix this thing. Well, you'll tighten him up turn 2, then you're not turning, the car's pushing in 1 and 3. The engine guys, they've been compromising, trying to make maximum power for these long straightaways, but not doing anything to overstep that aggressive line or doing everything they can to get fuel mileage, because trust me, we will mention that word before this day's out.
It's a 200-mile-per-hour super speedway, and it's a flat short track all at the same time. We'll show you how when we come back. It's a place where, well, a lot of things can happen. Budweiser, official beer of NASCAR, proud sponsor of the Bud Pole Award, given to the fastest qualifier at each race, but qualifying was washed out. So here are the drivers who are qualified for the Bud Shootout of 2003. Since 1979, Anheuser-Busch has awarded more than $7 million as title sponsor of NASCAR's Pole Award program. Sterling Marlin will start from the inside of the front row, but will not be credited with winning a Bud Pole because of qualifying. Let's have a look at the Walmart starting grid for today's race. And it's set by car owner points, which mirror the driver points through the first 8 rows or so. Sterling Marlin, rookie Jimmy Johnson up there on the front row. Jeff Gordon, 8 finishes of first or second here. Matt Kenseth, Rusty Wallace, 4 wins here. Mark Martin, 5th last year. Tony Stewart, 3rd last July. There with Kurt Busch. Bill Elliott, 4-time Pocono winner. And Ricky Rudd, who won here last June. Jeff Burton, 9 top 10s and 16 starts here. And Ricky Craven, last 3 Cup races, he started here in the top 10. Dale Jarrett, Dale Earnhardt Sr., and back through the rest of our field as they come by on the first pace lap.
Let's see if we can talk to the outside pole setter here, Jimmy Johnson. Hey, Jimmy Johnson, this is DW up in the TV tower, bud. How you read?
Loud and clear.
Pocono's creates a lot of challenges for you there, young man. How you looking for today?
I think we'll be in good shape. You know, we tested here before we went to Dover, had a great test. Conditions seem to be about the same right now. Just all I keep hearing, it's a long race, and I got to take care of my motor and transmission on top of keeping the fenders on this thing. So we'll just try to be patient and smart. My boys are going to get me fixed up in the pits, and hopefully we'll be in a good points paying position come the end of the day.
Well, I don't have to tell you that we are all very impressed with the job you've done so far, and look forward to seeing how you do today, and have a great day, and good luck.
Thanks a lot.
As you look back through the field, it was set by points and then by qualifying attempts per car owner. 43 cars came here to Pocono, so all will start. Hermie Sadler and ARCA champ Frank Kimmel, who was on track to win yesterday's race until he had a flat tire on the last restart. Took him out of contention. He finished 9th.
This is such a big racetrack. You know, it's hard to go a lap down here. You can come in the pit, make a pit stop, and get out and not lose a lap. So that's kind of like if you have a problem here, you do have a chance to fix it and get back in, get going and not lose a lap, which is very important.
Let's have a look at today's weather and race analysis brought to you by Lotrimin Ultra. 500 miles, 200 laps, a full field. And the pit window just under 100 miles there.
Yeah, I mean, 35 to 38 laps. And again, we used to could run about 40 laps here, but like a lot of the crew chiefs told me, it's not because they're getting worse fuel mileage. NASCAR is holding the restraints on the fuel cell capacity so tight, it's made the laps less than what we could run here before. That will, again, I'll make a statement, that will be a key before this day's over.
You're exactly right. And one thing you cannot let happen here, it's like a road course. If you run out of fuel coming out of turn 2 over there or coming up on the back straightaway, you're doomed. There's no way to coast all the way back to the pit here, so you cannot run out of fuel here.
It is a perfect spring June day in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania, as you can see here. Weather brought to you by New Ultraman Ultra, the only once-a-day cure for athlete's foot.
See the track temperature, 113 degrees. A little concerned, a little warmer today. That's about 10 degrees warmer than yesterday's practice. And the car will slide around here. I mean, these tires will lose more and more grip the more you run them.
Does shifting, using both third and fourth gear, does that use more fuel?
Oh, yeah. It's back to that carburetor thing. Throttle linkage, squirters in the carburetor. Every time you work those pumps, those squirters, you're using a little more fuel. So sometimes it's better if you're trying to save fuel late in the race, put it in overdrive and ride.
Lots of in-car views today. 9 that you see and a couple more. 12 onboard cameras.
We should not miss anything today. We should have it covered, baby.
And the inside of those cockpits, they will be busy.
Oh, yeah.
Casey Atwood carrying our Circuit City cam. And we'll have a foot cam on Casey, as well as the view you see here in the roof cam and the bumper cam. Jeremy Mayfield.
Once again, in the pre-race, we heard Dick Bergman talk about the 28 car, Ricky Rudd. This was a tough decision for these guys to give up that 10th starting spot. They were actually finished with practice yesterday and found a puddle of oil under the car. What had happened, they had an internal oil leak within the motor. It filled the oil pan up, and they just didn't want to take a chance with this 500-mile race. Change engine, one engine rule, have to go to the rear of the field.
But what we saw in the ARCA race yesterday, Rick Corelli started out back, had a fast car. He ended up in the top 3. But without caution flags and restarts, there was no way he was going to get to those leaders.
Oh, no. I mean, this track, again, is so big that they get so strung out that you can be pretty fast, but you can't just drive by people here. And you got to set them up, make the passes off these tight turns. By the same token, you can get behind in a hurry here, way behind.
Look at this turn 3, Darrell. It's flat. It's long. It must feel like you're in that corner all day.
And it really does. And I was shocked when I realized how fast you enter that corner. At over 180 miles an hour, we call that the short shoot.
It's not the slow shoot, that's for sure.
All right, Larry, we're coming down here, buddy. I got my belts tight. I got my tires cleaned up. I'm a little bit anxious. I want to go racing. And we're going to go boogity, boogity, boogity.
Green flag.
Stand on it, boys. Go, go.
Boy, Sterling Marlin in the 40 car, he got a well of a start there.
He wasted no time. He boogied right on out of here.
He was listening to you.
Bill Elliott ducked to the inside, and Jimmy Johnson, first time ever at Pocono, in anger into turn 1. Slides up just a little bit. Jeff Gordon comes to his bumper and underneath him. Second place.
Looked like a covey of quails going off in there. They went everywhere.
And definitely these straightaways are so fast and so long, the draft, no different Daytona and Talladega, it will play a role.
Oh, you can be 4 or 5 wide down the back straightaway trying to get to the tunnel turn, but guess what? When you get there, you better get single file in a hurry.
Yeah, you can run 3, 4, 5 wide on the straightaways. It won't work getting in these corners.
The guy on the inside is the guy that's usually in the catbird seat. The guy on the outside's got to give.
Bartlett unchallenged for the lead. Gordon took second from Johnson. Here comes Craven on the outside in number 32 around Kurt Busch.
And what happens on the first few laps of any race, everywhere we go, everybody fights for the bottom. Try to get to the bottom, try to get to the bottom. Sometimes you can make a whale of a lot of passes up on the outside if you are.
Especially off of turn 1.
Exactly.
Ricky Rudd started last, gained 3 positions on the first lap.
Now's when he's got to go. He's got all of them bunched up there together. Get as many of them as you can before they get strung out single file.
Running with Dale Jarrett.
And you can just see by Dale's hands. See how tense he is and how tentative he is right now? He's not relaxed.
Jeff Gordon is running down our race leader.
Boy, look how much deeper he was driving it into turn 3. The key is where your car stick and turn driving it in that deep.
Yeah, and here again, we're going into turn 3, and you can go across the short chute 3 wide. But when you get to the turn, the guy on the inside usually prevails.
But definitely turn 3 was good to Jeff Gordon. He was able to stay in the throttle. He's going to pull to the inside, and what he'll do, he'll drive it deeper into turn 1 and take the lead from Sterling Marlin in the 40.
Now, right here, some drivers downshift right there. They'll go back into third gear right there. Other drivers downshift right there in the center of the corner. It depends on whether you want to slow the car down with the gear going in, or do you want to shift it up, taking off, coming up off the corner. Personally, I don't want to let go of the steering wheel at 200 mile an hour going down into turn 1. I always stuck it up in third gear in the middle of the corner.
Well, I tell you, Dale Earnhardt Jr. and that Budweiser, that 8 car, he's on the move. Started back in 14th. He's already moved up there in the 6th position. Had a good car here a year ago, and fuel mileage bit him. Had to come to pit road, and a lot of other cars were able to stay out.
Yeah, he and Bobby Labonte had a whale of a finish here. Our outside pole sitter, Jimmy Johnson, he says, got his hands full right now. Got Kurt Busch all over his back bumper. You heard him say, and people told me that Jimmy had a great test up here. He was really, really fast. And if his car performed anything like it tested, that he would really be tough here today.
Yeah, Darrell, I talked to his crew chief, Chad Knaus, and he told me, they came up here for 2 days. They talked about spending the first day just letting Jimmy learn the racetrack. He said about the third run, Jimmy come in and said, here's what we need to do to the car.
Ricky Rudd has now climbed, more than 10 spots. He's up to 32nd. He started 43rd after that engine change, and he's been working at high, low, anywhere he can pass him, 3 wide if necessary.
There you go. And of course, he's got the position getting into that turn.
And we will see that so much where you get that inside position, and there's a big give and take when you get into the corners here.
The guy on the outside usually knows, just like right here, parks in the middle. He knows I got to give. Can't do this 3 wide. You can come through there side by side, high and low, but you can't do it 3 wide.
There's the first battle on the racetrack. Single file ahead of Tony Stewart, Jeff Burton, and Ryan Newman. This is for 9th place.
You see Newman, he's down on that inside. He's got the room to slide up a little bit, and he does. Slides up quite a bit, as a matter of fact. You carry so much speed down into turn 1, and into all 3 of these turns actually now, that you got to have a little bit of room to slide around. And that gets worse as the day goes on.
Newman on the inside takes 9th away from Stewart.
Kind of a nice new look there, Newman does. Kind of like that paint job. And Larry, he was really good in a happy hour too, so he's a guy that's on the move.
He was good in both practices. Won an ARCA race up here last year. This is his first Winston Cup start.
Jeff Gordon, can he win his first race of the year? Too soon to tell. Gordon 3rd in points, but still looking for that elusive first victory. He's out in front of Sterling Marlin, Ricky Craven, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and Matt Kenseth. Jeff Gordon has jumped out to a 2.7-second lead over Ricky Craven. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has moved to 3rd, passing Sterling Marlin. Jimmy Johnson has overtaken Matt Kenseth, who was 5th when we went to break. Here is the pass for 2nd place.
Oh, Larry, he did it the hard way, too. Sterling actually had to know he was there and give him plenty of room, as you can see.
And the reason that's the hard way up there, there's not quite as good a grip up there. The car don't get as good a bite, and the racetrack is down low.
Normally, a car comes off that corner high like that. It's real tight. It's pushing a little bit, and he can run that high line off of there.
Craven started 12th. He's now 2nd. Marlin started pole. He's faded to 3rd. Dick Berggren.
Well, the race had barely started, Mark, when Marlin keyed the radio and told his crew that the car is pretty loose. Tony Glover, his team manager, has told him to be smooth until it's time to pit. He has also told him, in essence, take what the racetrack will give him, don't race anybody. Meanwhile, the 18 car has just broken a transmission. Bobby Labonte.
Guys, one of the things I've been watching from down here, as loose as Sterling is, he's been very, very meticulous not to overdrive the car. And listening to Tony Glover is a very good thing. I think Tony's got the right thing as far as keeping him out of trouble early on. They get a chance to work on the car. I did notice that whenever Ricky Craven passed Sterling on the high side, after he cleared him, he stuck his window outside.
start off loose here, that's not a bad thing, because this track will get tighter and tighter and tighter, and pretty soon you just can't get the car to turn at all. So being a little free, being a little loose now is not a bad thing.
Ricky Rudd up to 24th position, now challenging Robbie Gordon. Rudd started 43rd after that engine change yesterday. Let's get an update on Rudd's Robert Yates teammate Dale Jarrett. Here's Steve Burns.
Hey, Mike, before the race started, DW, you talked about how massive this racetrack is. Presents a little bit of a problem for the spotters here. Dale Jarrett spotter is former Busch Series champion David Green. David has 4 Winston Cup starts here, but before the race started, David told Dale, there's some places I can't see very well. I'm going to be conservative, so I want you to be careful. And by the way, Dale Jarrett is tight on exit off of turn 3. Dick Bergman.
Well, despite the fact that Ricky Rudd has been passing cars, he has got a problem, and the problem is under the hood. The engine is running too hot. I just asked engine builder Doug Yates, how hot is it? He looked at me with a frown and said, too hot. Mike?
Man, it could, you tape the front end up on these long straightaways. That'll give you a lot of straightaway speed, but you pay the price sometime by gambling that it's not going to get the engine too hot. You see, Larry, he's got a lot of tape on the grill there.
Well, you'll base it off of what happens in practice, but a lot of times in practice, you're not out there running behind all these race cars. Of course, Ricky Rudd, he started at the very rear of the field behind all the cars.
Well, he knew he had to go. He's got to go in a hurry. I think what their plan was is probably tape it up as much as we thought we'd get away with, and then jerk that tape off once we get track position. That's quite a lot of tape for as hot as it is outside today.
I'll talk about something that Steve Burns was talking about, spotters struggling here. And right here on the front stretch where you see Ricky Rudd, as he drives away from the spotters, you have the spotters view right here. Right there, when you're running side by side, they're going away from you, and it's hard to clear you. We used to use a spotter in the infield down there near turns 1 just because of that reason.
Yeah, we always put one over on the back straightaway at the tunnel, right outside the tunnel there.
Our singular virtual crew chief comes at you a few times today. And there is the first question of the day. Question. I think Larry and I kind of favor the veterans we talked about yesterday in our final practice show. You can vote now at foxsports.com on Lycos.
And the reason we would say that, folks, is because this is a 500-mile race on a very difficult and a very unique racetrack, and you've got to be around at the finish. So many times guys run good right up to the last 50, 75 miles, and they just overrun their engines. They've turned them too many RPMs, and things start breaking valve springs and slowing down.
There's veterans and teammates right there. Mark Martin in the 6th, Jeff Burton in the 99. They're battling for 9th right now. Mark Martin very happy with his car yesterday. In fact, Darrell, he quit practice early, which is unusual for Mark Martin.
And he was fastest in that final practice.
But thinking about that, Larry, and you're right, he's probably very happy with his car, but you don't want to put any more miles on your engine here than you necessarily have to.
Jeff Gordon is trying to put 500 miles on his engine out in front, but Ricky Craven is closing the gap. It's down to 1.9 seconds. In 3rd, Dale Earnhardt Jr., and here's one of our 2 Rookie of the Year candidates, Ryan Newman, in 4th.
And it's a different paint scheme, same sponsor. And the Vega on the hood, what that is, that's a new 40-inch television made by Sony. Look at the Fox tracks here. We're looking at the interval. He's about 4.9 seconds behind our leader, Jeff Gordon. And it's staying about the same. There's the speed right there coming off turn 1, about 130 miles an hour. This is down what we call the Long Pond Straight. Long Pond, Pennsylvania is right outside this straightaway.
Newman started 15th, and he's moved through this field to 4th.
Well, I think if you look at who his teammate is, Rusty Wallace, and the success that Rusty has had at this racetrack through the years, combine that with the youth and exuberance of this guy here, wouldn't surprise me to see him up there fighting for the lead before it's all over with.
Let's not forget, for every successful young gun, there is a veteran mentor. As you said, Ryan has Rusty Wallace. Jimmy Johnson has Jeff Gordon. Kurt Busch has Jeff Burton and Mark Martin. None of these young guys are doing it alone. So they're doing it in the car, but they've got a lot of help behind them. Johnny Benson, first race back for MBV Motorsports in the Valvoline Pontiac. Did he brush the wall here?
Yes, he did brush the wall here.
Boy, and Kevin Harvick in the 29 car, about 4 cars in front of him. He was real loose coming off that.
And what happens is your car's tight, it won't turn, you're back in the throttle. And, buddy, let me tell you, that front end will just all of a sudden take off, and you'll brush up against the outside retaining wall here, over in tunnel turn, and also off of turn 3 over here.
Benson, first race back after those broken ribs in the Busch car at Richmond.
You hear the spotters giving those drivers information. This racetrack is so big, and a lot of times they can give you some information that may help you. Matt Yoakum, I believe Ricky Craven's zeroing in on that leader.
Well, you just heard, Larry, Jeff Gordon inquired of his spotter, Ron Thiel, exactly what lane Ricky Craven was running. He could see him slowly closing in his mirror. Gordon finally on lap 12 told the crew chief Robbie Loomis, besides temperatures, the car was just a little bit loose. The car was tight in the final practice session over the tunnel turn. It was extremely good in turns 1 and 3, but the car is just a little bit loose at this early stage of the race.
Trying to find that compromise.
Yes, sir. Jeff Green onto pit road. This is unexpected. ARCA champ Frank Kimmel has already taken his car to the garage area. We've only run 16 laps.
Down in turns 1, down here, they're getting onto the back straightaway. You got some banking there to work with. You can work the car there. Oh, he's got a problem with the brakes. He's caught the brakes on fire. He used a lot of brake here.
And sometimes I think trying to help not open more front end, you don't cool the brakes as much as you should here.
One of the things that young drivers have a problem with here is brakes, because you can just click them, just like he's done in a very short period of time.
Jeff Gordon's 2.7-second lead has been now cut to 1.2 seconds by a fast-closing Ricky Craven. Dale Earnhardt Jr., Ryan Newman, and Jimmy Johnson, the top 5. 20 of 200 laps complete on this unique tri-cornered racetrack of NASCAR. Jeff Gordon still leads, but now by only 0.7 of a second. Jeff Green has gone behind pit wall to repair that brake problem, and Carl Long has joined Frank Kimmel in the garage area.
And I think what you'll see with Gordon there is, he might let Craven close up there on him like he has that, but I bet you Jeff just kind of holds him at bay. Jeff doesn't want to run any faster than he has to right now, just enough to stay out front, I would say. And if Craven pressures him too much, he might even let him go.
First side-by-side battle is at 9th, where Matt Kenseth is trying the inside on Sterling Marlin as they roll down this 3,700-foot front stretch toward turn 1.
I tell you, just to talk about how important shifting here is and having the right gear combination, we heard from our guys in the pits that the 18 car has only high gear, which means he probably has about a 360 gear, and he's running right around 59 flat. Our leaders are running 56-20 something, so it's hurting him almost 3 seconds a lap because his car's just bogging down on straightaways because he don't have that low gear, third gear to work with.
Yeah, it just makes it difficult getting up off these flat corners when it's an overdrive like that. It's probably a .92 overdrive. So, like I say, he's got a pretty high gear up. The good news is it'll take care of the engine. The bad news is he's not going to run very fast.
Yeah, I mean, you're in third gear. That lower gear coming up off every corner. So right now, he don't have the advantage of that.
His teammate's not having such a great day either. Tony Stewart started 7th. You see him shift there, and now he's back to 16th. Matt?
Well, Mike, last week at Dover, Tony Stewart told me he had a lot of optimism coming back to Pocono, where he finished 3rd here last fall. Started 7th, but he's faded back to 16th. As Greg Zipadelli reading out the lap times to his driver, Tony Stewart. Zippy, what's he saying about the race car?
It's just loose. Into 3, exit of 3, just losing all of our time right there, not getting a good run down the straightaway. So we just need to tighten up this Home Depot Pontiac. We'll stop here about 10 to 12 laps from now, and hopefully we can battle our way back to the front.
Just ahead of Stewart, Ricky Rudd has now moved into the top 16 from last.
But I tell you what may have happened to that race car. Just listening to Matt talk to Greg, I watched those guys this morning. Their car was pushing yesterday. They were doing a lot of things to that car to help the car to turn. What they may have done, they may have planted the nose too much, and they've hurt the rear of the car. They've unbalanced it.
Yeah, but I still believe, Larry, my experience here has been this place gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and the cars get to pushing more and more and more. So a little free right now might be a little bit annoying to drive, a little aggravating, but that'll pay off before the day's over with.
Heading for turn 2, down Long Pond straightaway, Jimmy Johnson on the outside of Dale Earnhardt Jr. moves up to 4th.
This is just one of those joints that, I tell you, practice and the race are totally different. The end of the race here is a little bit more like what your practice was.
Well, I'll tell you, another guy that's fixing to give Dale Earnhardt Jr. a fit is Kurt Busch in that 97 car. Look at him able to get back to the throttle. Looks like Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car just won't turn. He can't keep it down. Busch was able to go around the bottom, pick up the throttle, and stay in it and make the pass.
It takes a lot of patience. It takes a lot of discipline not to race people. You could race him. He could race him hard right now, but it would abuse the car, and you just can't do that this early in the race.
And lined up 3 in a row 3 of the Roush cars.
Yeah.
Burton, Mark Martin, and Matt Kenseth.
They were all 4 together there a minute ago, Mike.
Yes.
Kind of like they were following each other.
And Darrell, that's a perfect example of what you talked about earlier. Jeff Burton kept that car up high. He kept the momentum up, and he was able to stay in front of his teammate, Mark Martin.
Yeah, turn 2, coming off the turn 2 over there, you can get a good run off that corner over there, and if your car's a little tight, coming off high doesn't hurt you. Where being tight hurts you right now is where they are on the tunnel turn, and then when they get over here to turn 3.
Kenseth leading Dale Jarrett, who passed Sterling Marlin a lap ago. So Jarrett now on the move forward, 13 seconds behind the leader, running in 10th place. He started 13th. Marlin, the point leader, continues to drift back a bit. He has fallen to 11th, fallen in fact into the clutches of Bill Elliott, whose Dodge looms in Sterling's rearview mirror. Jeff Gordon now maintaining about 7/10 of a second on Ricky Craven. 26 laps complete. Pit stops coming in the next 10 or a dozen laps here at the 2.5-mile Pocono Raceway. Watching NASCAR on Fox. Well, Gordon must have found a way to run around this racetrack, Darrell, that his car likes, at least for the time being. He's been able to just inch out a little more lead over Craven.
Yeah.
And a fast closing Ryan Newman.
Like I said, I think what Jeff did, had that huge lead. He kind of checked up a little bit. He didn't want to abuse the car. Right now, he's just pacing himself. It's what we always call just cruising right now. He's kind of using that overdrive and taking care of equipment, logging some miles.
But Newman is coming. Steve Burns.
Yeah, Mike, he likes his race car. He said his car is a little bit loose off of turn 3, but that's the only place that it's loose.
Long straightaways and 3 unique corners here. In fact, the front stretch is the longest in all of Winston Cup racing, longer than Talladega by about 150 feet.
And actually, it's a fun racetrack to run because it is different. And you do that little shifting deal. And so there's things that you do here that it's not a monotonous racetrack. You don't just lock it to the left and stand on the gas. You got to be thinking and working all the time here.
You know, a guy I bet that's having some fun today, John Andretti, he was fast in both practices yesterday in the 43 car. He started back in 35th position. He's up to 19th. We've talked about the Childress moving around, a lot of moving around at Petty Enterprises this week. He has a new crew chief, Brandon Thomas, that came from Joe Gibbs, has a new car chief that they moved over from the
trouble down here in turn.
And I just was talking about John Andretti. He's on pit road.
It's a 25 car.
Nemechek hard into the fence going into turn 3. John Andretti had already begun his pit stop, and Kyle Petty is in as well. It's felt that some of the Dodgers don't get quite the mileage.
If they hustle, the leaders in the short shoot, they can get their stop and beat these guys out. They'll be leading the race when these other guys, if they can beat these leaders off pit road.
Sure. Speed down pit road, take the penalty, but get out of there.
Here comes Gordon now.
The 43 is going to make it. It's going to be a little tight on the 45. Remember, the 55 miles an hour.
There he goes. He's got to cross the line. He should be fine. Oh, no, I take that back. Remember what happened to Rusty Wallace?
You've got to get down and past the
That's right.
road.
Kyle's a lap down.
John Andretti's going to be okay.
Kyle just went a lap down, and Kyle should have speeded down pit road and taken the penalty, but instead he just maintained his pit road speed and went a lap down.
We had the situation here last year, and it was
Rusty
very questionable. Rusty Wallace was in the pits, like he crossed the line ahead of the leader, but he did not get back out and into traffic before the leader went by and was adjudged to have gone down a lap. Meanwhile, Joe Nemechek's car sits badly wounded, the car that is, at turn 3.
Well, we talked about how fast that is across that short chute at 180 miles an hour. I always wondered why cars got torn up so badly when they wrecked, because I always thought, it's just that little old short chute. You're not going that fast. Till we got the telemetry in these cars and saw exactly how fast you go across there, now you know why you can crash so hard right there.
Or it has a lot of damage. That car hit hard.
It was going around backwards into the outside wall with a lot of speed.
First caution of the day, Nemechek was in traffic going into turn 3. Did not see if any other cars were involved. But it puts the caution out at lap 31 for the first time. There are your 3 leaders as they'll come around once pit road opens and come to pit lane for service. They're going to tiptoe through the accident scene here at turn 3, and then pit road will be open. Here's just the tail end of it.
That is a hard lick.
You know what I like about that, though, is how the back end of that car folds up and absorbs impact.
Oh, yeah, the back of the cars are very, they really crush, because there's not a whole lot back there but the fuel cell.
Dick Berggren.
Now Ricky Craven is on his way down pit road as his crew coaxes him down. They are counting him into his pit area. He's going to take 4 tires. The car is just a tad tight. They're going to adjust that by taking 2 rounds in the track bar, in the back. He has asked for 2 drinks, which they've handed him, but they can't get him into the car so far. Craven reaching for those drinks. It's a hot day out here. They're running with the left tires. He got about a half of one of those drinks, and he's gone. To that.
Jeff Gordon already in. Left side tires going on. He is down and away. He is going to be 32 on pit road. They made a chassis adjustment, air pressure adjustment on both left side tires, and they were going to pull a piece of tape off the grill. Water was about 220. Jay Wiles, the engine tuner, felt like that might be a little too high, especially if he should get mired back in traffic.
Thanks, Matt. Jimmy Johnson gained 1 spot coming out of the pits. Picked 1 up on Ryan Newman.
Boy, this early in the race, pit road, 38 cars on pit road at one time, all the lead lap cars. There you see Bobby Labonte, the 18 car, he's on pit road. Remember, we talked about a transmission problem. They're underneath there now with this caution period, trying to figure out if they can see a problem.
Joe Nemechek on his way to the infield care center to be checked out as Bobby Labonte completes his stop and rolls back out. So there's Joe, who is okay after a hard crash at turn number 3. 32 laps complete, pit stops complete for the first time today in the Pocono 500 on Fox, presented by Subway.
And today's track fact brought to you by the Insider Pizza from Pizza Hut, built in 1968. Pocono Raceway turns patterned after IndyCar tracks, and had a good explanation on the pre-race show about turns 1, 2, and 3. The first NASCAR Winston Cup race here, August 4th of 1974. Richard Petty, the winner. Richard Petty also the only one to win in his first try here at Pocono. From the Hollywood Hotel, along with Jeff Hammond, I'm Chris Myers. Glad to have you with us. And let's first take a look at Joe Nemechek, our first caution of the day on lap 31. Still trying to figure out exactly the cause or explanation. We have an onboard camera on the 36 car. Jeff Gordon, of course, has had the lead since lap 3, but since lost that as John Andretti is now in the lead. Kyle Petty following. So a couple of dodges. So the fuel disadvantage turns out to be an advantage.
Yeah, it really does. Let's go ahead and explain that. Those guys got lucky. They were already on pit road, and they got an opportunity to come in and get ahead of everybody based off of their pit stops. And, their misfortune turned out to be very fortunate for them.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about what you think may have happened to Joe Nemechek.
It's really hard to say right now just because of the camera angles we're looking at, but we'll take a look from inside the 36 car. Maybe we can pick up something. But it almost appears that he may have got in that corner and just got a little loose, and around he went.
All right, so this through Ken Schrader's view of things.
Right.
And what turn
he's
is
already
it?
up in the wall. This is up there in turn 3, getting ready to come off of 4. Or
He's
turn 3.
Spun into the wall.
Into the wall. There were a lot of cars right there together, so somebody could have been right behind him, took air off the rear spoiler, loosened him up. A lot of cars reported being loose early on during the first part of this race and got an opportunity to come down and make adjustments. And Steve Burns, I believe you got some more information for us from pit road.
Well, hey, Jeff, the 12 car of Ryan Newman is so good, crew chief Matt Borland decided not to make any adjustments to that race car. Crew chief Matt Borland telling his tire changers, Matt McSwain and Robert Benfield, just go nice and easy. They came on pit road 3rd, lost a couple positions, but they are one of the fastest cars on the racetrack. Dick Berggren.
Well, Bobby Labonte has been into the pits here several times as a result of his transmission problem. He is stuck in high gear. They can't seem to fix it. To Matt.
And Dick, the driver 8, Dale Earnhardt Jr., he has a combo platter, both tight and loose. They put a spring rubber in the left rear, made an air pressure adjustment. Same race car he finished 2nd with here last fall. He will restart from the 15th position.
When the caution came out, because all the rest of the leaders then pitted, Andretti's the leader. Here comes Gordon to the inside. Kyle Petty is the 2nd place car. Petty's pit was before the start-finish line. He was on pit road before the caution came out, came across and out prior to Jeff Gordon. He beat the caution car, so he is also still on the lead lap. The difference between this and the situation last year was last year Wallace was pitted past the start-finish line and thus ended up getting trapped. So Kyle did not. He's a lead lap caller.
just to follow up a little bit on the 25 cars, I looked at that, what little replay we could see from that in-car camera. You know, if you're loose and you got too much rear brake, the car could turn around with you like that when they were there. I'd be anxious to hear from Joe to see what he said happened.
I tell you guys, going back to that 43 and 45 car, I want to tip my hat to those crew chiefs. That was a heads-up, gutsy, taking a chance type of call. Brandon Thomas on the 43, Stephen Lane on the 45, and it worked out for him.
The option would have been to just drive through the pits because the caution was coming out, and then you would have been at the tail end. So, gutsy call. As Ricky Rudd drops to the inside in heavy traffic.
That's why we call this a roval. That's the kind of things you do on a road course. You come in and get your service done before the leader gets back to the start-finish line.
It's a battle for fifth right here. Ryan Newman in the 12 car. Jimmy Johnson in the 48. Boy, they're just going to drive right by it. Jeff Gordon in the 24. So you got the top 5 cars right there together.
Well, what always happens there, and you know, is that on this caution flag with these pit stops, some guys get their cars better. They make a little minor adjustments and get their cars a lot better, and all of a sudden you got a whole new group of players up front.
Jeff Gordon looked like he was able to get back to the throttle much before the 12 car. We got a battle for the lead. Ricky Craven, though, in that 32 car, he has been coming all day long.
Looks like Craven's car is really, really good on new tires. I mean, he was closing up on Jeff Gordon there early in the run, kind of stabilized late in the run. Looks like he's real good on new tires.
You know why the fans are on their feet right now? There's an Andretti up front. This track was built as an IndyCar track. Mario Andretti, John's uncle, had a lot of success here. But John is an bump and run coming off that corner. Everybody straightens it out.
Yeah, and if they want to keep John Andretti in that 43 car, they better keep it up front, too. Boy, Bushy's got a lot of damage to his car.
Tunnel turn car out there, you can see the 97 car's got a tire rubbing. He's going to have to come to pit road and make some adjustments. He hit the wall pretty hard.
Of course, he wants to get to pit road, Jeff, just as quick as he can because you don't want to go a lap down here. This is coming off turn 1, and his teammate right behind him, car just got loose against the outside wall.
Car tucked underneath you like that, coming off that corner. That's what you call a push loose. You come up out there, you got the wheels cut to the left, you're in the throttle. As it comes up out of that corner, the back end will snap around, smack the fence.
For the lead, Ryan Newman now right up the tailpipe of Ricky Craven.
Newman is one of those that was real good early on there in that first part of that green flag run. I think he's one of those guys that's really helped his race car.
I tell you guys, you look at Ricky Craven, you got to tip your hat to him, Mike Bing, Cal Wells. I mean, they're one of the few single car operations that's out there. Yeah, they have Robert 8 horsepower, but what a run they've been on. 3 straight top 10 finishes, 7th last week, and he's up to 12th in points. He has been coming this last month.
Ricky, you know, Ricky's a savvy race car driver. He grew up in the NASCAR main area in the NASCAR North Series, built his own cars, raced his own cars, had his own team. I think that makes for a great driver.
Ryan Newman, though, in the 12 car, gets a good run down that front straightaway, takes that inside position. We got a battle for the lead here from turn 1. Ricky Craven, though, we've seen that several times. On the high side, keeps that momentum.
There was a time when you could hear at this racetrack when you had to run the bottom. You had to keep that left wheel right on the white line. But 1 and 2 has changed a lot over the years. These guys have been able to move up and run high through that corner.
You saw Kurt Busch making his pit stop in the garage. Frank Kimmel, Carl Long, and now Joe Nemechek. Here's Dick Bergman.
Joe Nemechek's car is really wrecked. Second week in a row back into the wall. What happened this time?
I got to apologize to Rick Hendrick, all these Hendrick guys. UAW, Delphi, I mean, the car was good. We were fast. We were going up through there and been having a little trouble with the transmission, and they were trying to tell me to pit, and by the time I keyed the radio, I think it popped out of gear because just all of a sudden it jerked sideways and I couldn't keep up with it. It's my fault. I just can't blame our luck right now. I'm not doing my job. I'm not finishing these races, and I had an awesome car. You know, it was really fast. We passed anybody we come to, and we just got to start finishing races.
Can you get the car back out?
I think we're pretty much done. It basically knocked the rear end housing out from underneath.
Well, pass for the lead right now on the speedway.
Ryan Newman to the front. As Kurt Busch takes his car to the garage, Newman passes Ricky Craven for the lead.
And what our guys are telling us is he hit the wall so hard, Darrell, he'd been a trailer arm, so they're going to go to the garage and try to change that trailer arm to help the rear end somewhat in the center.
Oh, yeah, that baby was coming around really hard and falling up on Joe Nemechek just a little bit. Something mechanically, I believe, happened to Joe's car over there, because when I saw the car, it definitely just snapped around with him.
Dale Jarrett quietly coming to the front, up to 5th place now. Right on the back bumper of Jimmy Johnson.
You had a feeling, even though they're hunting that first win 2002, this would be a place. The last 10 Pocono races, 9 top 5s.
A lot of hunters here, a lot of rabbits too.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You look at the 600 in Charlotte, the veterans prevailed. You look at this race, 500 miles here at Pocono, the veterans probably prevailed.
Let's ride along with Dale Jarrett a bit here.
This is in the tunnel turn, turn 2, down to about 7,000, climbing 170 miles an hour. Remember, this is 3rd gear up to about 80 to 800. Little low RPMs, much flatter corner, longer corner, down to about 6,400. Slowest part of the racetrack right here, coming off turn 3. And he'll definitely should reach up there and grab 4th gear right there at the start-finish line. And you hear the RPMs don't even change, Darrell. He don't use a clutch, he changes by the RPM.
Yeah, and it's only about a couple of hundred RPM. It's not a huge change. You saw him shift as he goes down into the corner. Some guys shift there on entry, some guys shift right where he is now in the middle of the corner.
That's falling down the Long Pond Straight. He's in 3rd gear right now. We'll see if he opts to go to high gear. If he does, it'll just be for a brief period.
And if he does, he's following the car. Normally you don't shift down the back.
Now, because you drive this little like a road race course, you used to have to downshift coming up to the corner on a road race course to help slow the car. Today, the brakes are so good, some drivers, if they choose, can delay that shift until they're ready to come off the corner, as you say.
Well, like I said, I don't want to let go of the steering wheel as I go off in that corner at 200 miles an hour. I'm going to hang on to her till I get her turned and get her headed in the right direction. Then I'll pick up that gear.
Dale Jarrett moving on Jimmy Johnson. Here's Steve.
Well, Mike, prior to the pit stop, Dale Jarrett told his crew chief Todd Parrott that he was tight on exit in turn 3. So they put 1 round in the right rear, hoping to fix that tight condition.
Yeah, Steve, they're just taking a little bit of wedge out of that thing, not making major adjustments, just settle. But our young line there, he drove like a veteran down the front stretch. He saw Dale Jarrett was faster. Move over, let him get in front of me, then I'll fall back behind him.
Larry, that's another tentative road racing. Make that man pass you where it's not going to slow either one of your cars up.
Well, and I think Jimmy Johnson is savvy enough, a young driver, that he knows right now it's not the time to be racing anybody. If they catch you, follow. He's behind a guy that can show him something. Follow Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett's been very successful here. He's a good guy to follow.
Right now we're following this guy right here, though, leading the race. Ryan Newman in that 12 car. First Winston Cup start here at Pocono.
He's hollering back at them, y'all follow me.
Well, Rusty Wallace and that group had Ryan Newman on what they call the ABC plan. A little ARCA, a little Busch, and then into Winston Cup. And winning an ARCA race here last year has helped make Ryan Newman the class of the field at 44 laps. Jeff Green comes out of the garage and back on the racetrack as we go to break with 44 complete. And Newman leading Craven, Jeff Gordon, Jarrett, and Johnson.
Brett Bodine in the 11 car, Stacy Compton in the 14th. They just keep beating and banging on each other down that short chute.
Yeah, that's what you call casual contact there.
Tell Stacy this is the Pocono zone, not the Bodine Triangle.
That's right.
But you can't let your emotions override what you need to do here. I mean, you start doing all that stuff, these straightaways, it hurts the aerodynamics of these race cars.
Beating the fenders off of them, no good.
Let's catch up with a road racer, Robbie Gordon, and get an idea how he's got a lot of road race experience, a lot of IMSA and off-road experience, and see how he drives this track, Darrell.
Yeah, he just shifted. He's going down the front here, heading off into turn 1. Puts it up in 3rd gear, which that's your 1-to-1 gear. Now, that'd be your lowest ratio. Come off that corner in 3rd gear, which is whatever gear you have in the rear, that's what you're coming off there with, 375 to 89. Now, you're going to go to high gear. That's overdrive. That can be a .92 or a .96. Come down the back. Now, you go into the tunnel, back up to 3rd gear or your 1-to-1 gear because you're going to get good acceleration across the short chute here. That's the advantage of shifting there. Gives you the gear you really want to really maximize your speed across there.
47 laps complete, no change among the top 5. Newman's lead over Craven, now 2.4 seconds. We've had only one caution that came out at lap 26 for Joe Nemechek, who was okay after a crash at turn 3.
Brett Bodine in the 11 car, Stacy Compton in the 14th. They just keep beating and banging on each other down that short chute.
Yeah, that's what you call casual contact there.
Well, Stacy, this is the Pocono zone, not the Bodine Triangle.
That's right.
But you can't let your emotions override what you need to do here. I mean, you start doing all that stuff, these straightaways, it hurts the aerodynamics of these race cars.
Beating the fenders off of them, no good.
Let's catch up with a road racer, Robbie Gordon, and get an idea how he's got a lot of road race experience, a lot of IMSA and off-road experience, and see how he drives this track, Darrell.
Yeah, he just shifted. He's going down the front here, heading off into turn 1. Puts it up in 3rd gear, which that's your 1-to-1 gear. Now, that'd be your lowest ratio. Come off that corner in 3rd gear, which is whatever gear you have in the rear, that's what you're coming off there with, 375 to 89. Now, you're going to go to high gear. That's overdrive. That can be a .92 or a .96. Come down the back. Now, you go into the tunnel, back up to 3rd gear or your 1-to-1 gear because you're going to get good acceleration across the short chute here. That's the advantage of shifting there. Gives you the gear you really want to really maximize your speed across there. Now, that's a guy that doesn't mind shifting. I don't like all that shifting. I don't think it's necessary, and I think it just is opening a door for things to happen.
Now, here's Kenny Schrader, who comes out of the open-wheel ranks. His direct drive cars, any open-wheel cars he drove, didn't even have a gear shift.
He's in 3rd gear, or basically that's high gear. Now, he's in overdrive.
And he shifted about the same place that Robbie Gordon did on the front stretch.
The start-finish line is where you usually, that's your reference point. Now, he gets all the way in the corner. Remember what I said, I don't like to let go? He doesn't either. Went all the way into the corner, got in the middle of the corner, shifted up into his lowest gear. It's the 3rd gear position, but with an overdrive, it's actually in high gear. And when he pulls back, now he's not going to shift all the way down the back like Robbie Gordon did.
But the important thing is that Schrader's shifting down in the middle of the corner when he's ready to get off the gas. Robbie Gordon shifting at the entrance to the corner. Road race stuff.
Yeah, and if you watch open wheel racing, Indy cars and other cars, I mean, on an oval, they'll shift gears 2 or 3 times down the straightaway to maximize their speed.
Our leader, Ryan Newman, he's done pulled out to almost a 3.5-second lead over 2nd place Ricky Craven.
Let's check with Steve Burns.
And we caught up with Matt Farland, the crew chief. Now, Matt, I could have sworn I heard you say no adjustments to that race car on that last stop. It must really be good.
Yeah, he feels pretty happy right now. He's running real good. The Sony Alto crewman, they did a great job on the pit stop, and he's real happy. Hopefully we can stay in the lead here for a while.
Thanks, Matt. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Well, Steve, back and forth. Jeff Gordon on his first pit stop. Robbie Loomis called for a wedge adjustment. They made an air pressure adjustment, and they pulled 1 inch of tape off the grill. He was loose, but Gordon said it was manageable. On lap 48, he radioed in. He said the car was so good before off of turn 3. Now it's so darn loose, it's unbelievable. Loomis responded, "We know what to do on our next stop." He runs in 5th, trying to chase his 4th career win here at Pocono.
Dale Jarrett has crept up on Ricky Craven. This is 2nd place.
Both cars have the same engine package. Yates in the 32, certainly Yates under the hood of the 88. I think that Ricky probably saw that Dale was a little faster and let him make the pass.
So the veterans moving to the front. Here's another one. Bill Elliott in 6th place, challenging Jimmy Johnson.
This is kind of like that horse race yesterday. Got that one guy out there that's setting a really fast pace. Don't want to suck these veterans into that. So they're letting him kind of go on. He's out there by himself. I don't think anybody's really worried about him at this point.
He was good in practice yesterday. He didn't run that fast lap, but his car was good on the long run.
52 laps, 130 miles. We've got to race 500 today. Long way to go.
I tell you, I noticed, you see Jeff Gordon talking about being loose. He looks like he's tight, but the problem is he can't turn the steering wheel. The rear end will want to come around with him.
When your car's loose, you just can't be aggressive. You can't drive it off in the corner. If you miss your mark with a loose race car, you'll wreck. You miss your car with a tight race car, you just slow down a little bit. So you got to really be tentative when you got a loose car. Particularly when somebody gets up under that back bumper. Makes it even worse. See there, he just pulls over and says, "Get off the back, get away from me."
And does. Elliott moves up to 5th. Johnson now 6th, Andretti 7th, Kenseth 8th, Jeff Burton 9th, Never guess who's crept into the top 10 from 43rd at the green flag. Ricky Rudd.
Well, that caution fell at a good time for Ricky, too. I mean, it allowed him to make up even some more distance on the leaders. Good pit stop, and here he is, top 10.
Dick Berggren.
As a result of changing an engine, Ricky Rudd was all the way in the back of the pack at the green flag. That's a rule change. A motor start in the back, but he has gone forward all day long. Early problems with overheating. On that pit stop, they pulled a piece of tape off the grill. That helped the overheating problem, but Rudd's engine still running hot as he continues to motor forward toward the front. Mike?
He's up to 10th place, the defending champion of the Pocono 500, Ricky Rudd.
Well, it's hot here today. I mean, the ambient temperature, Larry, is way up there, as you will know, because I know you're monitoring that.
Much warmer than yesterday.
I'm looking at the grill of that 28 car, and they've got a lot of tape on that car.
Even after pulling some tape.
Even after taking some off. So I think they're going to have some work to do. And here's a guy that's got some work to do. This 40 car is backing up big time. He's all the way back to 22nd place. Schrader and Sterling have been having a pretty good go of it, but they're not making much headway.
Schrader just got in the spot from Sterling, who's trying to get it back. Got Steve Clark in tow right behind him.
Well, that's the way this track is. Schrader's real good in one end of the track. Sterling's real good on the other end. So they just race each other backs and forth.
And you know, Darrell, it's like the last 2 or 3 weeks. These guys still been having good finishes, but they have not been as strong. Sterling Martin in the 40 cars, they were in the beginning. This is the same car he won Las Vegas and Darlington with. He actually tested up here as Steve Park, and the one's going to go underneath him.
And I've been here, done that. Your points racing. You start letting that dictate how you race. Instead of going out there and trying to win races, they got a pretty good little lead here, and they're trying to settle it.
How many times have we seen it? Teams in the stretch run will do anything, including get a car from a whole different team to try to win a championship.
So that happened one time, didn't we?
Yes. Ryan Newman is our leader. He's 4.5 seconds up on Dale Jarrett. Ricky Craven is third as 3 Fords lead the Pocono 500.
And welcome back live. Quick recap. We're more than a quarter of the way through. Jeff Gordon passing points leader Sterling Marlin for the lead on lap 3. Ricky Rudd started from 43rd, moved up inside the top 10. Jeff Green with a brake fire problem. Joe Nemechek wrecking in turn 3 on lap 31. Kurt Busch scraping the wall and having some problems after that. And Ryan Newman taking the lead on lap 41. Jeff Hammond, in his last 7 races, Ryan Newman has had 4 DNFs. He did not finish. Should that be an issue here, especially with 500 miles?
Absolutely. You got to really be worried about kind of taking care of your equipment. This is a long race. It's very hard on the valve train and a lot of other parts in the race car. So, you know, running this hard early on could be bad news for him to probably have a problem. So hopefully he'll slow the pace down and be around at the end.
He's led 19 of the 59 laps. Our Subway race summary, and we showed you some of that. 5 leaders, 4 different lead changes.
And we have already.
With the 12, just as you were talking, Jeff. Let's head upstairs. Steve Burns has more. Steve?
Well, Chris, we just heard Ryan Newman radio to the crew that he has no fuel pressure. The crew's getting ready to service him when he gets to pit road. No fuel pressure for the leader, Ryan Newman.
He was in just 26 laps ago. So it's hard to think that he'd be out of fuel.
Yeah, I think.
But Darrell, he ran out. If he ran out on the Long Pond Straight, so he's got to go more than 1.5 miles to get to pit road.
I think he'll probably find out he's got bigger problems unless there's something wrong with the fuel cell pickup. The way he was driving that car as hard as he was running at this point of the race, this does not surprise me if it's mechanical.
Yeah, I just don't see how he could be out of fuel. He'd have to have a major pickup problem, but the bad thing about it, you run out of fuel here, anywhere, have a problem anywhere over on the Long Pond Straight, it takes forever to get to pit road.
Yeah, you saw he took both access roads over at the tunnel and then here in turns 3 as well to get to pit road.
Dale Jarrett, who's gone 30 races without a win, Loudon last July, has 2 top 5s this year, Martinsville and last week at Dover, and he's the new leader. Back to Steve.
And Mike, the car was not under power when Ryan Newman got in here. They're going to go ahead and put right side tires on. 1 can of gas in. They do get the engine refired for Ryan Newman. 2nd can of fuel getting in. And he is away.
Boy, that's a hard one to figure out there, Larry. I mean, the only thing I can think of is they just didn't get the car full of fuel when they pitted it.
I mean, that would be the only thing, because again, it's only about 27 or 28 laps, and everybody could at least go 34 or 35 that I've talked to this morning.
Kurt Busch is back on track after spending time behind the pit wall. Same with Jeff Green, only 3 cars out of this race, Nemechek, Long, and Kimmel.
And what happens in the fuel cell, the pickup is at the right rear corner, and we're hearing that Ryan Newman's not running again, so he's got more problems than fuel. Steve Burns.
Yeah, Larry Mack, he just radioed into Matt Borland. He said, it has died again. I can't get it restarted.
And this time it happened in turn 1, and he will not make it around.
No, the only thing he can do now is he needs to.
Well, it's running.
It's breaking up real bad.
Bring it in here, Gerald. Do you want him in the garage or back behind the wall?
Daryl, Larry, I'm wondering, it's a really hot day. I'm wondering if they're having a problem with the fuel getting too hot coming up close to the fuel pump, fuel vaporizing, and all, kind of like when the car will not run.
Well, it's a chance, Jeff, but, it just happened all of a sudden like that, and he's been running really well. I got to believe they got something really they can't figure out what's wrong with it just yet, obviously, but I think it'll turn out to be like a fuel
I wonder
pump.
maybe, if it's not that, then you also could be losing maybe a low ball to the cam that helps actually make the fuel pump work.
Yeah, I think it's something mechanical.
Yeah, because it's what drives the fuel pump is a rod that comes off of one of the lobes off the camshaft.
Oh, we got a fuel pump on the truck. Yes.
If you got to change a fuel pump, that is a major job.
It's not going to be easy.
If you took that to your local dealer, here's a 43 car back on pit road as well. If you took it to your local dealer to get that done, it'd take 3 days.
Daryl, John Andretti being on pit road, he was on a 30-lap cycle, so this is about when we'd expect him.
Based on that, these guys aren't going very far on a tank of fuel today, Larry. Again, all that shifting works the motors harder, and the harder you work them, the more fuel they're going to use.
And that's 32 laps since John Andretti was on pit road.
Comes some other cars, 4-car and others.
Brett Bodine is in as green flag pit stops. The first full round of them begin here at Pocono with 63 laps completed.
Mike Skinner in the 4-car, they ran out of fuel last week at Dover. They're probably a little gun shy.
Yeah, they had that little apparatus there that the ether on the stick.
They didn't want to have to use it again here today.
I told Jeff, I said, that's a great idea, but it tells me one thing. They must run out of fuel a lot.
Well, they've got it out there for Mike Skinner to get it restarted, and he's away. His pit stop complete. Three of the top 10 cars are on pit road. Dick Berger.
Jimmy Johnson pits out of second position. They've got the wrench in the back of the car. He's a little bit loose when he's on the gas. Water temperature 220. That's not really a problem. A 4-tire routine change for Johnson. He's all done.
Matt Kenseth in and out. Kyle Petty in. Jeff Gordon is in, along with Hermie Sadler, Bobby Hamilton, and Kevin Harvick.
Mike Youngstein makes both a wedge and track bar adjustment on the right side of the car, 4-tire change. Gordon said he had 0 drive off when he tried to get back in the throttle. The car was just so loose. He's good to go.
Pretty much all scheduled pit stops. Again, all the leaders are on pit road about lap 32. There you see Kevin Harvick, the 29 car. He'd moved up into the top 20.
Ricky Rudd coming in. As these cars exit, Rudd from 43rd all the way to 6th place. A couple of those inherited, but he raced his way up to 9th, picked up 3 more on pit stops, and there he is in front of Dick.
Now Ricky Rudd is in so far. I don't see any activity at the nose of the car to pull any more tape off. A lot of dust flying off the right front tire. Rudd obviously using his brakes very heavily, and there goes a piece of tape off the nose to try and help pull that number 28 engine down. Rudd done with that stop. He's gone.
Mayfield, Park, Benson in along with Strickland, and here's Rusty Wallace.
A lot of trouble on the right rear tire. This is going to be a real lengthy stop for the two bunch.
The reason they're having trouble is they pulled a spring rubber out of the right rear. It took them a few minutes laying there on the track, right on the pit lane, right by his pit stall. I saw him pull that rubber out and throw it on the ground.
Ward Burton, Steve Grissom, Kenny Schrader, Bill Elliott, and Dale Jarrett. Steve?
Mike, Dale Jarrett told his crew chief Todd Parrott, this car is really good. I'd hate to mess with it. Let's not make any adjustments. He'll have to get in right in front of Ward Burton. He comes in smoothly. Right side tire going on. Mike Trower and Jason Sheets, the tire changers. No adjustments to the 88 of Dale Jarrett. Let's go to Matt Yoko.
And Bill Elliott, the veteran Dodge boy, the Evernham camp is in. Second last week at Dover. 4-time winner here when the last came back in 1989. He was tight in turn 1, not bad in turn 3. Just felt like he needed more grip in the front. His crew chief, Mike Ford, called for an air pressure adjustment.
in and out. Sterling Marlin is in, and Robbie Gordon.
I'll tell you one thing, that 88 booked the pit stop on them. About a 14.7 there. When you're hot, you're hot. They're out front leading the race and looking good.
And I tell you what else he did, Darrell. He really came on the pit road, too. He got advantage of everything till he got to that line where he had to start running 55 miles an hour.
Yeah, you can come off of turn 3 down here just like you're racing and drive to you get such a great entrance in the pit road here that you can really run hard right to the line.
Todd Bodine in and out with 4 tires. As we cycle through green flag pit stops, our leader is Mark Martin.
He is about the last one to come to pit road. Jimmy Spencer in the 41, Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car. He's been struggling going backwards there on pit road.
Yeah, he was up there pretty good to get on the early get-go when the race started, but boy, he's backed up big time.
But Earnhardt Jr. had what Matt called the combo pack, push and loose, as Jimmy Spencer's crew completes his stop. Matt, what are they going to do to correct Earnhardt Jr.'s problem?
Well, Mike, they've got a wedge wrench in the back window. Going to make a chassis adjustment on Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car as Tony Eury Jr. comes around to the left side. Gets the lugs on the left front, and he's down the way.
And Matt, he must be tight because they put a round in the right rear, taking some wedge out of that car. Our leader, Mark Martin, in the 6, he's on pit road.
What you do is when the driver says, I'm pushing and loose, you fix the push first because he's pushing the car loose. As we saw, they took wedge out.
Mark Martin, who won at Charlotte, who was a contender, led 77 laps at Dover, is in front of Matt.
And Mikey still has that $1 million car. He brought it here to Pocono hoping for another victory. He was loose. Crew Chief Van Leslie called to pull a spring rubber out of the right rear. We'll look on the ground and the car leaves. Yes, the spring rubber is kicked up by Martin as he drops the clutch and peels away. They did pull the rubber out of the right rear.
Darrell, I don't think there's a bigger fire in the belly of any driver in that garage than Burns and Mark Martin, the win.
Yeah, I think he just feels like he has to make a statement. He's got so much he wants to prove. You know, everybody really has been down on Mark, giving him a hard time. And I got to say this. I think I oversold at Charlotte that he and Kenseth were working together. When you watch Mark Martin drive the last few laps of the 600 in Charlotte, wasn't nobody going to pass him. Kenseth would have had to wreck him to get by him because Mark went through that traffic like it was for $1 million. Went through it like it was $1 million at stake.
And there was.
Terry Labonte in the 5 car, he is the last of the lead lap cars to come to pit road. That will put Dale Jarrett back in the lead. Bobby Labonte in 18 cars on pit road as well. Nick Berger.
Well, it seems like every time Ryan Newman gets in a position to win a race, something happens to his engine, his car, something goes wrong. It's been blown engines today. Here it is, the fuel pump that was on Ryan Newman's car, the culprit. They have changed it. He is back out on the speedway. Mike?
Now, that's a mechanical fuel pump, not an electric one like run another series, because if that car stops running, they don't want fuel to keep pumping. Electric pumps not allowed.
No, they try to keep as many things not being electric as they can on these race cars.
Speeding penalty
to drive through.
Ryan.
Not like you do at McDonald's or Wendy's or any of those other places.
Do not leave your order. Do not expect change.
You have to do this drive-through at 55 miles an hour. We need to document that Kurt Busch in the 97, Jeff Green in the 30, they are back on the racetrack.
30 races since Dale Jarrett last visited Victory Lane. But he is out in front thanks to that really quick pit stop by 5.6 seconds over Bill Elliott here at Pocono. Welcome back to the Pocono 500 on Fox, presented by Subway. You're looking from turn 1 across the vast infield and the longest front straightaway in Winston Cup racing. And now we finally cycle through pit stops as Elliott Sadler, who topped off before the last restart apparently, is the last driver to pit. Steve?
And Mike, they're talking about making a track bar adjustment. Yeah, they're going to put the wrench in, 2 rounds on the track bar up. 4 tires for Elliott Sadler. Left side tire going on. Track bar adjustment of 4 tires for Elliott Sadler.
I always like to get out of sync, and he's definitely out of sync, and that paid off for him coming in and topping off. It puts him in a different window than everybody else.
And what he was hoping to do is catch a caution by being up near the front.
we just want to talk about this pit summary here. We want to see how our guys did on this green flag stops. If you notice, Darrell, we talked about Dale Jarrett. Got in good, got out good, and his guys had a great pit stop. Now, look at Jimmy Johnson. He had a decent stop, but look, he lost 3 seconds on what this lap is. That's 2 laps, including the pit stop. But what we have to remember, this kid just made his first green flag pit stop at Pocono. He didn't know how hard he could go through turn 3. He'd get on the pit road. But you know what? I bet he'll learn fast.
This right front feels real soft. Just trying to baby it. I want to put a tire. Or you're doing the right thing. And forward.
Prior to pit stops, Jarrett was 4.3 seconds ahead of Johnson. He's now 7.5 in front of Johnson, who is in third place.
And Larry, probably what they did was they lowered the air pressure in that right front tire. The car was a little tight, let a little air out of that right front tire, a pound or so. It's going to feel a little soft to you until the pressure builds up.
Yeah, I mean, these teams will let the right front down possibly to about 31 or 32 pounds. And what he's talking about, he just made that pit stop to get 4 fresh tires, is it feels like it's rolling over. It feels soft. He talked about babying it because when you damage a tire, it's in the beginning on that low air pressure, but it might not show up to lap 30 of a run.
And just to follow up a little bit on the pit stop thing, think about Charlotte. I really feel like where Matt Kenseth was so good at Charlotte, and he is again today, is getting to his pit box and getting out of his pit box. And they got on Jimmy about that at Charlotte, and what happened to him on his last stop? He was hustling and he overshot the pit. So, you know, he's just working through some things that takes time and experience.
He's 2.5 seconds behind Bill Elliott. So it's Ford, Dodge, Chevrolet. Jarrett at the bottom of your screen.
And that's a long way to win Jarrett out of the frame.
You know what? I believe awesome Bill. He has on motor on his side. Last 4 races, he's had 3 top 10 finishes. Second at Dover. Look at the Fox tracks here. This shows the interval to our leader right now, Dale Jarrett. It's shrinking just a little bit as he comes up the short chute right here off turn 2. He has to go by Ward Burton and Hermie Sadler.
Lapping past Ward Burton.
And Bill really, you know, I don't think Bill's one of those kind of guys that gets real excited about, you know, winning or what happens. I think he's just one of those kind of guys. He's got a lot of spirits.
He just gave Ward Burton a wave, leaving room to let him by, and Burton has gone.
And he's also a driver that has a lot of respect from the other drivers because he's doing a great job and he's out there upholding his end of the deal for Ray.
You know, Ward Burton's struggling. Steve Burns, what's going on with that 22 car?
Well, Larry Mack, he cannot keep the car in 3rd gear. He was trying to hold it in literally with his hands. It keeps jumping out of gear, so he's going to have to drive it in 4th gear.
That's going to be the same problem Bobby Labonte has. I mean, it's going to just kill you off these corners because you can't get the advantage of that lower gear to pull you off the corner onto these straightaways.
Yeah, and he's got double trouble if it's jumping out of gear. Now he's got to hold it in gear, and he only can drive with one hand. But that, you know, that was a fast car at Richmond, set on the pole. Transmission trouble cost him that race.
Whatever happened to the racer's second best tuning tool after duct tape? The bungee cord.
Oh yeah, everybody. We used to always have a bungee cord in the car just for that kind of a situation.
But the reason it'd be hard to use that here is because you're trying to go between 3rd and 4th. Where that works is on an oval where you get the 4th gear and you leave it in 4th gear. But the real fear with that thing jumping out of gear is jumping out of gear and turning the motor about 10,000 RPMs.
Or turning the car around, as happened to Joe Nemechek when it jumped out of gear. Johnny Benson and Mike Skinner coming off the corner.
I think these cats, they were about 3 or 4 wide when they come across the short chute there.
A long way down the straightaway. Look at our Fox track. It'll show you where they're at right there. There you see them getting together about halfway down the straightaway right there. And you don't want to be beating and banging on each other.
No, and that's just a situation there where he whooped out behind that other car, and the momentum carried him into the car beside of him.
Kevin Harvick in trouble.
Now, you see that thing hanging down on the back of the car back there? That's a rear sway bar. Well, we're off of it.
Steve, what's the matter?
Well, Mike, we caught the tail end of the radio communication. Something, again, it's a transmission problem. They think they may have to bring the 29 to pit road.
It's coming your way.
See, that's what I was saying in the opening of the show. We used to just, the only thing we did about shifting, the only reason we shifted here was to take care of the motor. These guys have gotten carried away. They're shifting everywhere. And I just don't think these cars are made to do that. These transmissions are certainly able to do that, but I just don't think we need to be doing that.
And a lot like engine guys, transmission guys, they get a little aggressive with parts sometimes trying to make those things lighter, because if they're lighter, they're going to run faster.
Kevin Harvick has just made a left turn into the garage. 82 laps, just past 200 miles here at Pocono. Caution is out for a crash in turn 1. Ryan Newman has backed it into the wall after contact. Now, Newman was already 10 laps down for the fuel pump change, and things have not gone any better since. There is Kurt Busch, who was involved with Newman.
Busch has already been in the garage, had to do a little work himself.
Yeah, he was 19 laps down. This is going off into turn 1 right there. You see Ryan Newman on the low side of Kurt Busch in the 97.
Oh, he just slides up into it. Kind of run out of room.
Boy, Mike Skinner in the 4 car, he's just barely going to slide by.
Where they come down the front, 12's got to run on the 97, and he just turned it down in there and trying to stay off the 97, brought the back end around.
Yeah, just it got him real loose as he got down in the middle of the corner.
You're downshifting, you're on the brakes right there. It's real easy for that to happen.
And that view probably showed well the effect of the funnel here from that 6-wide front straightaway going down to turn 1. Kurt Busch's car is a mess. Newman has gone to the garage.
That's one of those deals right there where things are already gone bad and you just made them worse. Obviously had a very fast race car, and now you got a very fast torn up race car.
It's a lot of damage to the rear of that car.
Damage, nothing major there.
Dale Jarrett led them around to the caution flag. Jarrett has now led 25 laps. Jeff Gordon has led 30, the most of any driver so far.
And I think Jeff Gordon's probably pretty happy about that caution, because he's way back there in 12th place after those pit stops. I don't think his car was very good right now.
I'm sure we'll see all our leaders to pit road. There you see the Fox tracks. You can watch our top 3. Dale Jarrett in 88, Bill Elliott in 9, Jimmy Johnson in 48. The reason they're not right together, a few lap cars there. That's what's neat about the Fox tracks. Everybody should be on the pit road for 4 tires, full of fuel, important full of fuel, and adjustments.
Yeah, what the Fox tracks is showing you, folks, is where your favorite car is in comparison or in relation to the other cars in that line.
Everybody down to pit road speed. Here's Dick Berggren.
Jimmy Johnson comes into the attention of his crew. He had been in 4th position. This will be a long pit stop because they're going to make 3 significant adjustments. Air pressure is one. That doesn't take any extra time, but they're also going to change the track bar and wedge to Steve Burns.
Well, Dick, Dale Jarrett said his car had got just a little bit loose. No major adjustments, an air pressure adjustment. The only chassis adjustment for Dale Jarrett. Left side tires going on to Magnolia.
And Bill Elliott's left side tires going on. A little bit of trouble on the left front. He is down and away. He's going to try to win that race on pit road. It's going to be close, Mike Joy.
Very close. Have to look at the replay from the line.
That's 17.
How about the 17?
I watched that guy. I tell you, they have got it going on in the pits, boys. I got to tell you, I give my hats off to Matt. He brings that thing in the box. He gets it out of there. They're doing a great job. Man.
Here it is at the line. And there's Kenseth.
Kenseth looks like Bill Elliott in the 9. He's going to beat Dale Jarrett for 2nd off pit road. I mean, Matt Kenseth, he got to his pits. He has nobody in front of him, not to block him in. Those guys do what they do every time he comes to pit road. They rip them a pit stop.
Best pit stop.
That's 5 points.
Best pit crew on pit road right now.
And I think we might have had a couple drivers gamble and take on 2 tires. We'll check on that when we come back to the Pocono 500 on Fox, presented by Subway. We're under caution for the 2nd time today. 88 laps completed. The first caution at lap 26, Joe Nemechek backing it into the turn 3 wall. And this time, lap down cars, Kurt Busch and Ryan Newman crashing in turn 1.
Today, boys and girls, we're going to do a little pit strategy here of picking a pit. And what I want to show you is, look, see that right there? That's a timing line. And that's a timing line. In other words, NASCAR times the cars in between those 2 lines, and that's how they determine the pit road speed. Matt Kempis, he's got the absolute perfect pit. Here's the timeline. He can come to his pit, gas it up right there when he comes in, gas it up right there when he leaves. Got nobody in this open. That's an open pit stall right there. He can get in quick. He can get out quick. Plus, an incredibly fast pit stop.
Dick Berggren is in Kansas pit with Robbie Reiser.
Okay, Robbie, you're leading the race. How much of that's pit stop, how much of it's car, and how much of it is driver?
Well, I think it's a combination. We came in third and went out first, so that was to the crew. But, you know, the car's been running real well, and Matt's been doing a great job. The race team, everything's good. You know, I don't know what to say. I'm surprised. I'm real surprised after practice last night because we didn't run real well. So we're doing okay.
I guess you are. To Matt Yoakum.
Dick, Jeff Gordon's been battling a very loose race car all day, and he and his crew chief Robbie Loomis were discussing a lot of different scenarios to try to tighten that race car up. Robbie, what'd you settle on?
The car was really good at the start of the race. It's got more rubber down. We've got extremely loose with it. We've been working on it, putting wedge and adjusting the air pressure a lot. Like I said, Dan Loweweather and his family, let it over, thinking about him, praying for him, also champions back home.
Mike? Sterling Marlin came in 20th and came out 4th. Rusty Wallace came in 16th and came out 5th. Those were the big gainers on this round of stops.
And Sterling, those guys did change 2 tires.
And so did Rusty Wallace, we're told. 2 tire stops for both of them.
Well, it's probably not a bad call because they were so far back. But I tell you, my experience here has been you got to put 4 on every chance you get.
What did Rusty tell us in pre-race? His prime focus here, track position.
Yeah.
Now they've got it.
They had to do what they did. They had to do what they had to do to get up there. But I tell you, they're going to pay the price for that, I'm afraid.
Let's see. And as they come around, you asked for it. We're going to crank up that surround sound and give you all that horsepower down the longest front straightaway in NASCAR. Let's crank it up. Kenseth now the 9th different leader of this race, but he's under pressure from Bill Elliott coming off turn 1.
Well, Bill just able to run low and get back to that throttle and stay in it on the low side. And Dale Jarrett, that UPS, the 88 car, he's right there with these guys. Side by side, little give and take here. Matt says, go ahead, you're faster.
Oh, yeah. Bill's definitely in the right position to make that pass.
In the last 4 races, 4th at Richmond and runner-up last week at Dover, and who knows if that race had been 5 laps longer.
Yeah, you had a good feeling about Bill coming here. After his run at Dover, he ran well at Charlotte. Just had a good feeling about him coming here because this is the kind of race that a driver like Bill Elliott.
Michael Waltrip, right there in 12th place.
17's in the wall over there, guys. 17 hit the wall off turn 2 over there.
There's another center. You heard it. Broken transmission.
Why would you come to a racetrack where you don't have to shift here? It's just an option. And fall out of the race with broken transmission. Yeah, I thought he got up in the fence, but he just got up out of the way is what he did.
He speculated maybe not the transmission, could be the gear, or actually the drive shaft between the transmission and the gear. Comes in here 4th in points.
But those drive shaft, let's have a look here.
be right in the area where you make the downshift to third gear.
Yeah, he's coming up off of 2 over there.
And isn't that a part of the driveline that takes a lot of abuse from shifting, as does the transmission?
Oh, yeah. When you hammer that thing up into third gear going down into turn 1 there at over 200 miles an hour on new tires, you can puts a lot of strain on a lot of parts.
Strickland, the 23, Johnny Benson, Mike Skinner, and Casey Atwood.
It's a battle for about 25th.
That's a wad.
Atwood's sponsor, Sirius Satellite Radio, going to put on a free concert next Saturday in the infield of Michigan because we're in Detroit. Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels and the Blues Brothers. Can't wait.
I guess I won't get to see that because me and Vern will be in Kentucky for the Bush race.
We'll tell you all about it.
There's a battle for 8th. Tony Stewart in that 20 car, Mark in the 6 car. Tony's been, fell back at the beginning. Now he's been working his way back into the top 10.
Michael Waltrip right behind Stewart on the outside of Mark Martin. Here's Steve.
Mike, when the caution came out, Michael Waltrip came to pit road running in the 11th position. They were on pit road for an extended stop. That's because they took a spring rubber out of the left rear and made an air pressure adjustment. His car had been pushing all day, but he's fought his way back up near the top 10.
Robbie Gordon right in that pack. Dale Earnhardt Jr., John Andretti, who led earlier. But look who's up front, the veteran.
Awesome Bill from Dawsonville. I tell you, he drove his heart out last Sunday at Dover. I was really proud of him. I told him what a great job he done. He's up there today. And let's take a real quick look here at the rundown. Bill Elliott, veteran. Dale Jarrett, veteran. Ricky Rudd, veteran. Jimmy Johnson, rookie, running 4th. Sterling Marlin, veteran. Rusty Wallace, veteran. What did we say when they kind of got going here? This is going to be a race that the veterans will probably dominate.
Veterans Day isn't until November. It may come early this year.
It may come early.
But guys, that 28 car back there, I'm telling you, he's going to be trouble here shortly. Remember, at the beginning of the race, he would qualify 10th by virtue of the points, had to go to the rear of the field because of changing engines, and he is up to 3rd.
Well, he pretty well had this thing in hand last year, if you recall.
And this is a brand new race car, untested, didn't even get to take it to the wind tunnel. They just finished in time enough to get here with it.
Had a brand new car here last year.
And he'd like to brought it back, but he destroyed it at Richmond.
Now, Jeff Gordon ran away from the field. He built up an almost 3-second lead early in this race. Here he is back in 14th.
And he's got his hands full right now. He's not happy at all.
But, Darrell, how many times have we seen this? And we've seen this so much. He's up front. He started up front. He leads the race. He starts cycling through green flag stops, pit stops. He gets back. He can't go anywhere.
I think that team must be one of those teams that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We're going to fix it till it is broke.
I've been a part of that many times.
Sadly, yes. We are 4 laps from halfway here in the Pocono Mountains of Pennsylvania, and Bill Elliott is in command here by just about 4/10 of a second. Matt Kenseth has gone to the garage area where they're going to replace driveline parts.
That's a rear end gear they're taking out.
Bill Elliott's crew. Race strategy and an attaboy. We'll be right back.
Fox welcomes you back to the Pocono Mountains and the Pocono 500 here, presented by Subway, and we have officially gone halfway, 100 laps. Wilson and Sterling Marlin led the first 2, then Jeff Gordon took over. Ryan Newman led 19 laps, more on him in a moment. Dale Jarrett, who is now running second behind Bill Elliott, the current leader. Bill Elliott, Dale Jarrett, Ricky Rudd making up the top 3. If we can, we had mentioned that Ryan Newman was leading earlier. He came back into the race, and then Jeff Hammond took out Kurt Busch. And if we go back to last week at Dover, Delaware, Steve Park was frustrated by Newman as well.
Yeah, they got into turn number 2 right there, and Newman tried to go under Park. They got together, lost the front end. They got together, and it wrecked both cars. And then just a little while ago, almost the same situation again. Ryan Newman got down underneath Kurt Busch. This time he took out Busch and himself. Very frustrating for a lot of drivers to have this happen 2 weeks in a row.
And I recall now Ryan Newman, as you see him live, getting back on to the track and back out. And I recall Park saying, hey, some of these young guns could take a cue from some of the veterans on how to drive patiently and carefully. And as we mentioned the leaders, Bill Elliott, 46, Dale Jarrett was 40s, Ricky Rudd, that's the top 3. Do you echo Park's feelings, even though we've seen a guy like Jimmy Johnson, a rookie, drive like a veteran?
Yeah, I think what you're seeing today is Once again, Newman knew he had a fast car, had a mechanical problem, probably had a lot of frustration. He wanted to get back out there and race as hard as he could, but in turn, not using good common sense, he wrecked 2 race cars that didn't need to happen.
All right, let's check out Matt Kenseth, and Dick Bergman is standing by with what's wrong. Dick?
Well, actually, I'm kind of kneeling with what's wrong. And they really didn't know what it was. They pulled the axle. They thought possibly it was a drive shaft. They decided it's a transmission. So we've got 4 mechanics under the car, and Kenseth himself has asked for one of every size of wrench, and he is in the process of undoing the shifting linkage on top. So we've got 4 on the bottom, 1 on the top. They're trying to change this transmission. What a disappointment. He looked like a winner of the race until that transmission failed.
Terry Labonte coasting onto pit road, and Ward Burton, the Daytona 500 winner, has taken his car to the garage. And let me throw an oar in the water here. Clearly last week, Ryan Newman's fault. He admitted as such. He washed up into Steve Park, accelerating off the corner. But here, Darrell, he was trying to cut down to avoid Kurt Busch turning down into him. In this case, I think there's plenty of blame to be spread around.
Yeah, it's just, you got to look at some of these things, and they truly are just racing deals. 2 guys going off in the corner, one gets under the other one breaks loose and slide up into each other. I can't really point a finger, a lot of blame at either one guy in that situation. Kurt's already been in trouble. He's been in the garage working on his car. Ryan's been in trouble. He's been in the garage working on his car. That shouldn't have happened, but to me, it was just a racing deal.
Terry Labonte there, as you talked about, Mike, there on the pit road with the hood up. I don't think he was even under power when he came on the pit road. We need to also document that Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick, they have loaded their cars, and there you see the crew. That's not a good sign when you lower the hood and start pushing backwards. That means you're headed to the garage. You're probably done for the day. But Kurt Busch and Kevin Harvick, they are out for the day as well.
Just had the 48 car, just got by the 28 car, Larry, over there going over the tunnel, and moved the 48 up to 3rd place. Having a pretty steady run right here, this kid is. Started on the front row, stayed in the first 2 or 3 here through the first half of the race. He gets a run down the back here. He gets a great run, closing. Looks like Ricky knew he was there, and Ricky said, you got the line, go ahead.
Well, we've seen it so much today. If you start running side by side, you almost hurt your lap times by a second. So if a guy catches you, there's a reason he catches you. And this early in the race, let him go. This is a battle right here for 12th between Jeff Gordon and John Andretti in the 43 car.
I got a feeling we haven't heard the last of Gordon, though. I think he's off pace a little bit right now, but I think they'll get that car tightened up for him before the day's over with. And I bet we haven't heard the end of him.
I want to talk about Sterling Marlin. Remember that strategy a while ago? They decided to change 2 right side tires. Also remember, he had been loose. And Darrell, you know as well as I do, sometimes when you put just right side tires on, that in itself will tighten the race car up, and he's holding in 5th position, so I didn't think he would stay there.
No, I didn't either, but the thing that always bothers me, Larry, is what's he going to do now when he has to come to the pits for a green flag stop? He's got to take 4. That's okay right now because you got to fill up with fuel anyway. You're going to be sitting there that long, but that kind of strategy can bite you at the end of the day.
It can be a gamble, absolutely. But under green flag stops, 35, 40 laps, everybody will take 4 tires.
Yeah. Now, the other car that took on just 2 tires was Rusty Wallace, and here's Rusty running in 9th place, about 11 seconds behind the leader, drifting back just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit, but, on further review, good call by both teams to do what they did. They passed a lot of cars on pit road.
We mentioned Ward Burton had gone to the garage. Here's Dick.
And Ward is indeed sitting with the car up on jack stands. Transmission, Ward.
Yeah, the transmission went out third gear early. Start the race with a little bit of a loose condition, and felt like we could get it corrected and salvage the finish for it, but his mechanical problems are killing us. Guys are working hard, and I'm working hard. We're just right now not getting it done, but certainly not giving up.
You've heard both the disappointment and the disillusionment in the voices of the drivers today that have fallen out with mechanical problems.
And the question that we can't answer, but can certainly speculate, is are some of these drivers and teams beating themselves trying to beat the racetrack? Bill Elliott is out front at 106 laps.
At 5 Fox welcomes you back to the Pocono Resort area. 90 laps to go, and the Coca-Cola Racing family. In today's race, take a look at how well they're doing. Bill Elliott, your leader. Dale Jarrett second. Michael Waltrip, Jeff Burton in the top 12. An expanding Coca-Cola Racing family as the drivers, as you see, Kyle Petty, Steve Park, Kurt Busch, and Kevin Harvick rounding out the group. You know, there was that movie out a couple of years ago that was probably on video now, Billy Elliot, about a kid who liked ballet and his father disapproved. Well, Bill Elliott likes to race, and his father so much approves. Obviously, has helped build engines and still does build engines. But at age 46, our leader, Bill Elliott, who hasn't won, Jeff Hammond, in 15 races in Winston Cup.
He may not have won, but I'll tell you right now, he's really gotten on track as of late. Finished ninth in Charlotte, second last week, leading here today. Ray Evernham and Bill Elliott have finally got their act together. They're starting to show some really strong muscle.
Now look ahead here with 89 laps to go, and where you think this strategy, the way we've gone so far with just a couple of caution flags.
Well, they got about 2 more stops they got to go through to be able to complete this race, and it's going to be real interesting right now to see how everything kind of plays out in the next little bit. But I expect them to come to pit road around lap 129. One of those stops will be interesting to see who makes what kind of adjustments in.
5 cars officially out of the race. Some others having some problems. Let's get a check on that with Dick Berger. Dick?
And Terry Labonte is in the garage area talking with Ken Howes. What's going on? So many mechanical failures. They got the hood up on yours?
Well, we dropped the valve, I guess. We got something went wrong in the engine there and lost a cylinder. Then I lost the rest of them. So I guess the valve was bouncing around in there and got all the cylinders. So we're done for the day.
And so are a lot of other people. This garage is getting populated, Mike.
Filling up fast. To celebrate Tony the Tiger's birthday, Kellogg's is going to award a Spirit of Achievement Award to 10 kids who have overcome a personal challenge or helped others to do so. The grand prize winner gets a $10,000 scholarship and will appear on a box of Kellogg's Frosted Flakes with Tony. Only 6 days left to get your nomination in. There's the website and the toll-free number.
And one of the things, just to follow up a little bit on the transmission deal, shifting here should be an option. You should set your car up to where if you want to run it in normal, in your high gear position, that car will run pretty good like that. And only shift when you need to. Depending on shifting to be fast around here is why these guys are having trouble.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't that many years ago we were pulling 370, 375 rear-end gears here, and now getting up that short chute, 389, 391, you have to shift on this long straightaway. You'd be turning 9,400 at the end of this long straightaway.
I think the guys have gotten carried away. I just think they're just overdoing it.
Back to 7th place, Mark Martin. Pulling down on Ricky Craven. Inside for the pass.
And as you can see, most of the time, when a guy knows the guy closing is faster than he is, he moves up and lets him go. You can draft here very nicely. You can run down these long straightaways and get a real nice pull and stay right with the guy in front that just made that pass.
This is a super speedway. The slowest they go is 130-some miles an hour in the middle of turn 3, and they hit 200 miles an hour at the end of this straightaway. You can draft just about anywhere here.
That's right.
Let's look at our Fox tracks. We got the miles per hour on our leader, Bill Elliott, right here. Start-finish line about 175 miles an hour, over 180. Down into turn 1. This is well into a run as well. 192 miles an hour. And this is well into a run. Fresher tires, it'll even be faster than that.
Yeah, he'd be right at that 200 mark.
In the last 6 seasons, Bill Elliott's had only one top 5 finish here. 4th place last July. Looking to win today, and pit stops are coming up. John Andretti was running in 15th place when his Cheerios Dodge ran into the turn 1 wall.
Yeah, he was going by Robbie Gordon on the outside here. I don't think there was any contact. It just looks like Robbie held him out there, and John had to make a real late entry into the corner and got up into loose stuff, and the back end come around on it.
That's put us under the 3rd caution of the day at lap 115. And the leaders are on pit road.
All 29 of them on the lead lap. Dick Berger.
Jimmy Johnson's team is going to take 1/2 a pound out of the right rear. That's the only adjustment under the 4 tires on this car and 2 cans of fuel. Steve Burns.
Dick, Dale Jarrett's car being characterized as a little bit snug. They're going to put 1 round of bite in the right rear and 4 tires, Matt Yoakum.
Bill Elliott felt like his car was better on the first half of the run. In the second half, a little bit of trouble on the left rear. He's not
Martin and that 6th group, they had a good pit stop.
Ricky Rudd. Pretty good stop for him, too.
Yes, it was.
Yates
Fourth
boys,
to second.
Yates boys are on it today. All of them are.
Here it is. Race out. Dale Jarrett. There you see his teammate, Ricky Rudd. Here comes Awesome Bill in the 9.
Have the young guns run out of bullets?
There's Mark Martin.
Oh, there's one.
There's one.
Jimmy Johnson, Sterling Marlin, who did get 4 tires that time.
Bill Elliott led them to the caution flag. Dale Jarrett leads them off pit road. Good day for the over 40 crowd here at Pocono. Finishing up the third caution period of the day, there's always a lot of hard work and sacrifice that goes on behind the scenes. We want to mention that with our Ford No Boundaries moment. Here's Steve Burns.
Mike, as DW just mentioned, the 88 team just busted a great pit stop. He's also getting a lot of help from his spotter, former Busch Series champion David Green. David was in Nashville this weekend qualifying the 59 car for Stacy Compton so Compton could qualify here in Pocono. He stayed for the race last night, flew back to Charlotte, North Carolina, arriving at 2:30 a.m., turned around, got back on another flight, a racing logistics flight, which brings crew members up at 4:30 a.m., all in time to help DJ Spot here at Pocono.
Also up on the spotter stand, Mike Kalanoff is Matt Kenza's spotter. His dad, longtime Northeast racing journalist Len Kalanoff, recovering from a heart attack this weekend, and our best wishes to him for a speedy recovery.
Let's take a look at this caution flag pit stops. Now, you look at Bill Elliott, who went from first to third. Not a very good pit stop. Look at his pit road time. Remember, 55 miles an hour, but that also includes getting in and out of your box. But look at Dale Jarrett, he's first now. Look at his teammate, Ricky Rudd. Their road time, along with an awesome stop by Ricky Rudd's crew, that's the reason they're first and second. The least amount of time spent on pit road. Need to document that about 4 or 5 cars came in and topped off Jimmy Spencer, Kyle Petty, Brett Bodine, Steve Grissom, and Stacy Compton. Just taking advantage, rear of the field. Nothing to lose by coming in, making sure that tank's full of fuel.
The closest Winston Cup race to the major media markets of Philadelphia and New York. And they have packed this former spinach farm in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. What a crowd.
That caution was not a good break for Steve Park. Just a few laps ago, he was on pit road with a flat right front tire, so he's now a lap down.
Keep an eye on Sterling Marlin on Fox Tracks. He will restart 6th as here they come for the restart. Green flag, completing lap 120.
Pace car brought him to 65 miles an hour, coming toward the start-finish line. Well, at about 130 miles an hour before he even gets to high gear at the start-finish line. And he's back there in traffic. He's not out there in clean air. Watch him going out into turn 1, 173 miles an hour, off the throttle. About 132 miles an hour down the middle of the corner, off the throttle.
And the 28's alongside of his teammate there.
Ricky Rudd has not yet led today.
Challenging for the lead, and I think he's pretty well got it.
From last to first.
That 28 car looks really good, Larry. This down, I mean, the nose of that maybe is sealed off against the racetrack.
For more on race leader and defending race champ Ricky Rudd, Dick Burton.
Just before the start of the race, Mike, Ricky Rudd and I are standing around his car, and we're just having some casual conversation. And, you know, Rudd has been outspoken about all the stuff that's been said about how these kids are dominating the series. And he looked at me and he said, "You just tell all the announcers on the broadcast, wait until about the halfway point of this race, and then tell me about the youngsters." Well, you got veterans in the top 4 spots. I'd say Rudd called that one very well.
You know, the fellow who's in fourth, Mark Martin, leading that big pack of cars right behind our 3 runaway leaders here. It was Mark who first started discussing the phenomenon of young drivers about a year and a half ago. These fellows who were getting into race cars at age 5. Here's one of them passing him right now, Jimmy Johnson. And by the time they get to Winston Cup, they got 15 years of experience. And Mark says drivers his age didn't even get to drive good cars in Winston Cup until their 30s because there were so many good established drivers, older drivers ahead of them. Now these young drivers are getting into good stuff at age 20 or so. It's all different now.
Yeah, I think what really opened Mark's eyes to the phenomenon is his son, Matt. You know, he's racing Matt in his little mini series that he runs down there in Florida, and developing Matt, bringing him along to be a Mr. Cup driver as soon as he can.
I want you to look at this group of cars here from about 7th to about 12th, including that 20-car Home Depot car of Tony Stewart. He's getting better and better as this race goes on. He had fell back there in the beginning, but now he's up here running in the 8th position.
Two of the Earnhardt Inc. cars splitting. Jeff Burton being Earnhardt Jr. and Michael Walter.
Well, little brother's having a pretty good run today there, Larry. He's 10th, and the car looks really good. He's been in the top 10 all day.
I tell you, another car having a good run, that yellow number 77, Dave.
Yeah.
Started in 21st, and I'm telling you, if you've been in their garage this morning, I talked to Ryan Pemberton, his crew chief. They had the 4 springs laying out off the 4 shocks, and Ryan was rubbing his head. He said, I don't know what to do to it, but this is the same car that they led Fontana with, and Robert Presley finished second at Chicago last year. Good race car.
Good race car.
Steve Burns.
Well, Michael Waltrip is having a good run. On the last pit stop, they took 1 pound out of all 4 tires and made a wedge adjustment. He's been fighting a push. His spotter also telling him maybe to try running a higher line.
When Steve letting a little bit of air out of all 4 tires, what that's doing, that's helping it as this racetrack gets hotter. It's letting it get more grip. You're taking spring rate away from the whole race car. Gets it down in the racetrack better.
That's what happens to this joint here, though. The longer you run, the more you start slipping and sliding, particularly right there across that tunnel turn.
Boy, Jeff Gordon, he is mired in a pack of traffic. We're watching from the Discover card for Todd Bodine, and Gordon has been working the inside against this pack, and boy, he's wiggling around there, Darrell.
Boy, he is. That car just doesn't look very happy right now. He's going to make the pass because he had the good line there. Well, I don't know if he is or not, if he can pull up in front of the 30 car or not. Yeah, there he goes.
Well, Jeff Green in the 30 car, remember, he's 29 laps down after having a brake problem. I tell you, another car that was tore apart this morning, we're looking out of Jeremy Mayfield's car right here. He's sitting back there in 18th position. 2 of his career wins is here at Pocono, and they had a lot of confidence about this race car because this is the same car that Casey Atwood drove last year and had 2 good runs here, plus he ran 30 at Homestead. So with Jeremy's talent here, they felt good about coming to Pocono, but they were struggling yesterday in practice.
You saw there Mayfield just didn't get the drive off turn 1, and they were 3 wide coming up on the tunnel turn, and he wisely backed out of it rather than go in there 3 abreast.
Larry, you ever run a rear sway bar here?
Absolutely. The only thing that, the rear stabilizer bar that helps increase the rear spring rate, and it will help the car turn off the corner. The only thing I didn't like about it, or the driver didn't like, is how bumpy it is in turn 1. That would seem to upset the car sometimes.
Yeah, well, I just heard that they unhooked the rear sway bar on that 24 car. That should tighten him up if he's fighting a loose condition.
Yes, it should, but I think that's also the reason. See how his car is not taking the bumps right. We see it in every corner. It's like the right rear is going up and down, and that means the tire's not staying in contact, and that's because unhooking the rear sway bar took rear spring rate away from the race car.
I didn't hear you say pogoing, did I?
No, pogoing. Pogoing.
Okay.
That's a little bit like turkey walk.
Riding with Elliott Sadler, Jeff Gordon just ahead of him, and Robbie Gordon just ahead of him. Robbie Gordon, perhaps, well, it's hard yet to say whether he'll be adversely affected by the team change at Childress Racing. His crew chief, his whole team almost, even the cars now are different. This is the first week of that change, almost a complete swap with Kevin Harvick, and Gordon had begun to show a lot of good runs, and now everything's new for him.
Yes, it has, and again, they did not swap all of the cars because, in fact, this particular car is the one that he won Loudon, New Hampshire with last November. We look at the battle here between Rusty Wallace and his ex-teammate Jeremy Mayfield in the 19th. This is a battle for 18th.
Mayfield has the line, and now he's got the room.
And he's got the run across the short chute.
Ford Burton back on track after a while in the garage.
We talked about Casey Atwood, that 7 car. He had 2 good runs here last year, lost an engine, and he's up there battling those guys as well.
Riding with Atwood, and the 8 car, Dale Earnhardt Jr. trying to get himself back on track here. He's had an up and down day, and he's back up to 9th. 127 of 200 laps complete. But there's Ward Burton, who has just come out of the garage and is getting back up to speed. Ricky Rudd leads his Robert Yates Ford Racing teammate Dale Jarrett by 0.4 of a second. Bill Elliott is third. 130 laps, 325 miles of 500 complete here at Pocono. 200 laps make up the distance. Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett tracking the field, and they stay about 1.4 seconds ahead of Bill Elliott.
And when we talk about week in and week out, we talk about horsepower and who makes the most steam under the hood, and we always talk about the two Yates cars. This is a place where horsepower, it is the king. Whoever's got the most power here, it usually shows up at Pocono because of these long straightaways, and you can use every bit of it.
3 long pulls per lap. And look at the wins that are represented among the top 5 drivers. 22 for Rudd, 28 for Jarrett, 41 for Elliott. Johnson's a rookie. 33 for Mark Martin. That's a lot of winning up there.
That's a lot of spirits.
Jimmy, late in your run, are you going back to third through the tunnel? Yeah, 10-4. I'm quickening it up. Third going to the 3 really keeping the car underneath him, but the loose down there and downshift and get knocked loose.
Well, what he's saying is when he has to make that shift, it changes the RPM of the engine, and it sounds like it's making the car get loose when he makes that shift. You hit these turns so fast and so hard, and you jam that thing in another gear, it'll actually make the back tires try to lock up, almost like you got too much rear brake. It causes the car to jump out from under you.
Matt Kenseth is back in the race. He came to Dover second in points, left there fourth in the standings, and now he is 39 laps down in 38th place. Could be to gain a few more before this one's over.
Yeah, got a tire down last week at Dover, and that just did his day in, and then a mechanical failure here, so he's backing up in a hurry.
I tell you guys, one thing I will say about this racetrack today, 133 laps, our guys from the pits, they keep feeding us track temperature. It's really not changed that much. It started off 113 degrees. It's still at about 113 or 14 degrees. So really the track conditions staying pretty consistent so far.
Yeah, it's actually, it's not overcast, but it's certainly a lot of big white puffy clouds up there that kind of keep the sun from just beaming down on the racetrack.
Ricky Craven looking for a run on Tony Stewart. This is for 7th place, about 8.5 seconds behind the leader.
And Larry, I don't know if you found this to be true or not, but as you get on into the summer months and the tracks get hotter and the tracks get slicker, you've got to be able to change your setup to accommodate for that. When the tracks are green, just like this place was when you first come here, you can run that great big sway bar because you get a lot of grip, and that sway bar will make the car run nice and flat. But when this track gets hot and slick, you got to start backing off that sway bar and changing the spring combination a little bit.
You know, guys, the car that had a good run last week at Dover finished 9th, Bobby Hamilton in the 55 car. He started back in 26, and he's up there in the top 15. I talked to Jimmy Elledge. He told me, Larry, this was the car we ran at Fontana, Texas. This car was terrible. We rebodied it. We didn't test it, but I had it in the wind tunnel a few nights ago. It was pretty good, and he's kind of backing it up here. But, in 21 Pocono starts, he only has 2 top 10 finishes. This place not been that good to Bobby Hamilton.
Yeah, but what I think happened to Bobby and him when Jimmy left, I think they got a little bit behind. And I think Jimmy's gotten back in there now. He's getting the cars, rebodying cars, catching them back up, and it's showing in their performance.
And of course, Jimmy Elledge was his crew chief last year. They won Talladega at the beginning of the year. Jimmy Elledge goes to the 88 car with Dale Jarrett. A few weeks ago, he leaves there, and now he's back what he calls back home.
To Hamilton in 14th. Meanwhile, Jimmy Johnson in 4th place, closing up on Bill Elliott for 3rd. There's Rudd, Jarrett, Elliott, Johnson in front 4. Behind that, Mark Martin, Sterling Marlin, Tony Stewart, and here's Ricky Craven feeling the heat from Jeff Burton for 8th place.
It's like Burton's getting his act together too, Larry. Last week had a pretty decent run there at Dover, and today he's hanging in the top 10. That's a big improvement for that team over what they were doing.
Yeah, and I think and I talked to Frank Stock this morning. He said, Larry, we've come so far. He said, everybody thinks we have a much more power. Everybody thinks we're handling better. But he said, our aero packages, and this is another brand new race car. And when you look at it, it looks like it should be a good race car.
Ricky Rudd and Dale Jarrett, 0.8 of a second apart. Rudd, the defending champion of this race, with 2 third places, his best of 2002. For Ricky Rudd's team, this must be some sort of redemption. They were in position to win last week at Dover, had a miscue on their final pit stop and ended up 17th. But right here, the defending champion of the Pocono 500 is out front of Dale Jarrett by 1.1 seconds. They've been flawless in the pits and on the track so far.
Yeah, they really have, and that just tells you that, we got pit stops coming up here, probably going to be green flag. Can't have any errors, and I'm sure that'll be on their mind.
Dick Berggren.
Well, the fuel consumption calculators are flying here in the pit area, Mike. The two Rickies, Rudd and Craven, both are going to need 2 pit stops for fuel. They can't make it on just one more. Bernie Elliott, who built the engine under the hood of Sterling Marlin's car, said it's all going to depend on how hard he bashes the gas. If Sterling uses a lot of throttle, he's going to need 2 stops. If not, maybe he can make it on 1. Yeah, I mean, what I'm seeing, guys, is all the leaders were on pit road at lap 117. That's 83 laps to go. That means they would have to run 41 and 42 laps. And Jeff Hammond, the only car I've seen so far earlier in the race that could do that, now he's back in 16th position, is Elliott Sadler in the 21 car.
Larry, hitting nail right on the head, buddy. 21 car, along maybe with the 36 and the 45 of Kyle Petty. Might really get that far because they came in just before we went back and restarted on lap 120. You're going to have to stretch the fuel mileage at least 40 laps. Somebody does to be able to go the distance. And these 3 cars are the only ones I've seen so far that might be able to do it. Everybody else is going to come up somewhere between 4 and 6 laps short.
I don't know, guys. I think what you'll find that these guys will get to that window where they can make it on one more stop. I think they're probably telling their drivers, we've got a fuel issue, which we knew we would have. Save a little fuel here. Run the thing in overdrive if you have to. Keep the RPM down. Don't jump in and out of the throttle. And I think they can make it on one more stop.
So Rudd and Jarrett lead. Johnson second, Johnson third, Elliott fourth, and Mark Martin is 8 seconds off the lead in 5th. Matt?
Well, Mike, Jack Roush, known as the gas fuel mileage miser. Ben Leslie cruising on the 6th. Can you guys make it on one more stop, Ben? How close are you going to be?
Well, we don't really know. It's kind of going to be a gamble. We're trying to decide whether we want to take it or not. The Viagra Ford has been running good all day. These guys have done a great job in the pit for us. Everything Mark's done a whale of a job driving for us. We're crunching the numbers pretty hard. It's close. It'll be just whether we want to roll the dice or not.
Mark Martin had never won the Coca-Cola 600. He finally won it this year in this race car. He's never won here at Pocono. Second 3 times. Maybe today will be the day. The calculator may have the answer.
Mike Skinner off the pace.
Yeah, something happened over across the tunnel. Looks like the right side's torn up.
The thing about looking at Mark Martin there, the 6 car just a second ago, is see Mike Skinner trying to get to pit road, is the fact other than Elliott Sadler, he ran the furthest of anybody in the earlier green flag run. And just remember, Elliott Sadler, the 21, Mark Martin, the 6, both used Roush engines.
Watch Mike Skinner here slide.
Yeah, he got it up in the fence there. He just got in there a little hard over the tunnel. Lost the back end. Slapped it up against the fence.
It's a pretty hard lick. He makes it to pit road, though. A lot of damage on that right side. I'd say possibly like Kurt Busch, bent trailing arms, bent rear end housing. He's going to go straight to the garage area.
Darrell, from running here at Pocono, that the best way you can save fuel is you say get it in that overdrive. We've already noticed, because where the Hollywood Hotel is located, that Mark Martin and several other cars are getting in that overdrive quicker off of turn 3 than earlier in the day. Instead of carrying down about the start-finish line, we're just getting up out of the corner and getting back in the overdrive really quick to try to conserve fuel.
Yeah, that's what you do, Jeff. I mean, it doesn't hurt your lap times at all. You come off turn 3 down there, and as soon as you get up on the straightaway, instead of running all the way down to start line, you just pull her back into the overdrive. It takes 2 or 3, even 400 RPM out of that engine. Easy on that throttle. Push it down real easy, and that's how you save fuel here. These guys can make it. I guarantee you, there's a lot of them that can make it on one more stop.
You saw Elliott Sadler go by Robbie Gordon, and that was a battle for 15th. I think Robbie Gordon in the 31. He had some little problem. Must have got out of the groove a while ago. There you see he's going to lose another position, possibly to Jeremy Mayfield in the 19 car.
I think that's what happened, Larry. He got up into the loose stuff. They told him on the radio, make sure you don't have anything on your tires. So, Darrell, what have you got to do to make sure that car's okay, and how far are you willing to test it that next lap or two?
Well, that's the whole thing. Ease it down in the corner this time, and you back off just a teeny bit early to give yourself a little bit of time there in case there is something wrong that you can catch it before it gets into the fence. But Mike, the fuel mileage thing is kind of funny. I'm a driver. I say go for it. The crew chief, he's crunching numbers. He says, I don't know if we can make it or not. You know why? The driver, if they run out of gas, it's not the driver's fault.
But you know what? You don't want to run out of gas here, because if I run you out on that long line straight, you're going to screaming, I'm out of gas, how am I going to get back?
And that poor old crew chief's going to make you pit whether he has to or not.
Because if you run out there, he's going to have to listen to a whole lot of screaming before you get back here.
Call me a ambulance.
Fox welcomes you back to the Pocono 500 on Fox, presented by Subway, and currently Ricky Rudd, the Iron Man. Could call him maybe the Tin Man, the way he's driven with a lot of heart, coming from back of the pack, working his way up, and leading his teammate Dale Jarrett. You see the youngster Jimmy Johnson, then Bill Elliott, and Mark Martin with just 52 laps to go.
We've got a great race shaping up here right now. We've got one critical pit stop getting ready to come up. We've seen the last few races how pit stops can really affect the outcome of a race. I think today's going to be no different.
7 of the 11 leaders today driving Fords, and the Robert Yates Racing, in case you're wondering, 4 1-2 finishes of all time, but some mechanical problems. Jeff Green having a toll taken here on this track. You see Ryan Newman, Kevin Harvick had a drivetrain, Matt Kenseth with a transmission problem, Terry Labonte dropping a valve, and then Jeremy Mayfield moments ago stepping out. So the last 100 miles of this 500-mile race, and the unique track that it is, and you talked about it on the pre-race show, not necessarily taking the toll on the driver, but the car.
You really can't, Chris, because you keep talking about it, these long straightaways, when you have to downshift trying to save that RPM using the transmission like you're doing, you've just increased the probability of breaking part of this race car. The last 100 miles, usually all this kind of comes together. If you're going to have an engine problem, it shows itself, or a transmission problem, this can happen.
Got about 5 laps to go before pit stops. So standing by is Matt Yoakum with Robbie Loomis. Matt?
Well, Chris, Robbie Loomis called to unhook the rear bar. It's helped his man, Jeff Gordon, now in 9th. Robbie, you've helped the race car. Now what are you going to do to help with the track position?
Yeah, we really need a caution to get caught up. The DuPont Chevrolet's on rails right now. He's really happy with it. Just need a caution to get some track position back up there. We'll be in great shape.
Now, what's your fuel mileage game plan look like?
We're watching that. Brian Weitzel and myself just been discussing it. We're going to have to see what shakes out here at the end.
They feel like they're probably going to have to make it on 2 more stops, but it's very close. They're working on it and working on it. Steve Burton?
Matt, Jeff Burton at 99 has been fighting a tight race car for much of the day, but he's found a new line on the racetrack that has helped his lap times tremendously. He has good forward bite, but he wants the car to be a little freer on the next stop.
We are 3/4 distance, 150 of 200 laps completed, and of the top 10, 9 are experienced drivers. Ricky Rudd the leader, Dale Jarrett second, but here's the third place car, Jimmy Johnson, the rookie, coming onto pit road.
And there's such a fine line between getting the car right. That's why you just make those little half turns, half pounds.
Johnson is in his pit. There's no way Jimmy Johnson is going to make it on the fuel he's taking this time. No way anybody's going to go 49 laps on this. They're going to tear a piece of the windshield covering off to let him see a little bit better. Normal routine, 4 tire change for Johnson. No adjustments to the car other than air pressure. Another good stop, and he's gone.
Now, I mean, if you know you can't make it, there's no sense in stretching it. Don't take a chance, because if you're getting a little worse fuel mileage, Jimmy Johnson's been running pretty fast this segment. He's probably using a little more fuel, so might as well come on in, get you 4 fresh tires, and get advantage. I'm saying anybody that comes in from lap 157 on possibly can do it on that one stop.
Right now, as Jimmy Johnson, as the leader comes into view, dictated the race pace, because now that he's out there on fresh tires, Darrell, is everybody else going to want him right away?
I think tires are not the issue right now. Everybody's thinking fuel. Everybody's trying to get to that window to where they can make it on one more stop. That's the big issue right now.
But Darrell, if you know you can't make it, here comes a 25 car, and he's going to spin it up. He's going to hit. Oh, he gets a stop right before the pit road.
And And that's just residual unburnt fuel out the exhaust. That's not a problem. But Gordon, trying to keep race speed as far as possible, locked up the brake trying to get to pit road speed, spun out.
And the clock is going tick, tick, tick while this is going on.
Now, will he stop or will he drive through to stay on the lead lap?
Oh, no, he's got to stop. He's already committed.
He was there for fuel, so we know he can't run any further. There's no sense in it. Casey Atwood in the 7 car, he's on pit road as well.
This pit road is such a pit road that you come off turn 3 there and you can race yourself right to the end of the pit lane. But as you saw, you can also get in big trouble too. Just watch what we're talking about. Here he comes, carrying a lot of speed. See the rear tires? He locked up the rear brakes.
Trying to get down to that 55 miles an hour.
Exactly. Dale Jarrett's in, second place car. Steve.
Mike, they had a great pit stop last time. Let's see if they can duplicate that feat. No chassis adjustments to the 88 of Dale Jarrett. Jackman John Bryant slams the jack underneath the 88 on the left side. Left side tires going on the 88 of Dale Jarrett.
Well, the 24 car needed a caution, they said, for a track position. Now they need a caution just to get caught back up.
Rusty Wallace is in. Remember, he took on 2 tires on the last caution flag stop. He'll get 4 here, so will Robbie Gordon.
Here comes the 28, and he is hauling it. He's locked up trying to get to the end of pit road. Comes the 9.
Dick Bergeron.
Kevin Hall is going to carry front tires for Ricky Rudd. Bobby Burrell is going to change the fronts. Paul Volk is carrying the rear tires. Ray Holm is changing them. 57-year-old Norman Kujimizo, the gas man. He is perhaps the most important of all. Pack that tank, get as much as he possibly can in. They can't go all the way, they know that, but they want to go as far as they possibly can. Come on.
Bill Elliott is in. They made a track bar adjustment up 1 round. They're also going to make an air pressure adjustment on the 9 car. They do not feel they can go the distance. They're probably going to have to stop one more time for a gas and go. Today.
Craven is also in. Sterling Marlin just passes Craven. He pitted just after the 28 of Rudd. All these cars, 4 tire change and 2 cans of fuel.
Johnny Benson is in. Hut Strickland, Todd Bodine, Kenny Schrader among those making pit stops. Darrell, locking up the rear brakes.
Yeah.
When you're just about out of fuel, does that make that car tough to drive?
Oh, yeah, that's why I did it. There's no fuel back there. The car's real light on the back end. And if you're borderline with a lot of rear brake, which that's what you try to do, is have as much rear as you possibly can. Out of fuel, come to the end of pit road, tires worn, spin it out.
Tony Stewart in the 20 car, he's on pit road. Mark Martin has assumed the lead right now in the 6 car. And he's one of the ones we will be watching to see how much further he will go.
And these cars normally have a balance bar in there that they can adjust. I am not a big fan. I told my guys always, I don't want a lot of rear brake. On these fast speedways, that's so many times you get yourself in trouble.
Matt's in Tony's pit.
Tony Stewart in. You can see the wrenches in the back window. Shaggy makes a track bar adjustment. Jeff Gooch Patterson. Oh, Tony Stewart stalled the car. Gooch tried to pack that fuel cell full. Stewart stalled it when he dropped the clutch.
And now out front, 2 Roush cars, Mark Martin and Jeff Burton.
If they can make it on fuel, if they make 1 more lap, here comes Burton. Right now, I think they're in the window, Larry. I believe that the 99 and the 6, if they top up, pack it full right now, I think they can make it.
Well, Jeff Burton, he's on pit road here at 156. That's 44 laps to go. Now, it's only been 39 laps since he pitted, so it's going to be interesting. Steve Burns.
Jeff Burton comes to the attention of his crew. Mark Armstrong will change the front tires on the 99. No wedge adjustment to the 99 of Jeff Burton. You come around to the left side. Burton been fighting it. Push all day long in the 99. Left side tires on. Burton is away.
Kyle Petty, Hermie Sadler, Steve Grissom are in. Steve Park stopping as well under green.
6 cars still going.
That's lap 157 right there.
2 more
laps. That's a given. He can make it.
Yeah.
He's running his own race right now. He don't care what other people are doing.
Did you see the cartoon in Winston Cup scene this week? And that Mike Smith from the Las Vegas Sun does the cartoon every week. Why is Mark Martin so good? And it's got a crewman saying, hope NASCAR doesn't see this. He's pouring little blue pills into the gas tank of Mark's car. Maybe they're gas mileage pills. Maybe they're not.
Maybe not.
Now, what I see 5 cars that have not pitted yet. 2 of them are Roush cars, which is Mark Martin and remember Elliott Sadler. There you hear Ben Leslie telling Mark Martin that's their fuel gauge, fuel pressure. You don't want if you start seeing the fluctuate, you better get to pit road. But Elliott Sadler with the Roush package. But the DEI cars, Michael Waltrip and Dale Earnhardt Jr., they're still out there as well, running second, third right now.
And as usual, Jack Roush, he'll pit one car early. He'll try to stretch one car, try to play the odds in different ways to give one of his drivers a chance. Dale Earnhardt Jr., is he out of gas?
He stretched it a little too far, I believe. Dave Blaney in the 77 car, he's another one stretching, and he was getting the pit road.
Man, you see him smoking all 4 tires.
Like he was
Look over there. He blew the right front out. He locked it up and blew the right front out.
It wasn't a burnout, it was a burn-in.
Yeah. Oh.
That's all right. Doesn't need that tire anymore anyway.
Get that one off.
But I'd say there's a good chance that Dave Blaney, who normally gets good fuel mileage, he can make it from here.
And here comes Mark. He's coming into the 3rd turn now, and he should be on pit road this time, which puts him well within the window of making it. Here he comes.
Bobby Labonte's in, Stacy Compton's in, and Mark is hauling the mail to that timing line.
Right there. Here he comes, guys.
Now the 15 car hadn't pitted yet.
Or the 21 of Elliott Sadler. We saw him go 44 laps earlier.
Looks like a hold on Dale Earnhardt Jr.
It looked like speeding on pit road, but if he was not running, Matt Yoker, what's going on?
Larry Mack, they were holding his car silent, thinking that he was out of gas. When he's out of gas, he could not tell the speed limit by the tachometer. It was a tough entry for Mark Martin because he had to go around the 8 car. They were trying to stretch Martin's team, trying to stretch it to lap 159. They made their window. They were packing that fuel cell full of fuel, and he is down and away to Steve Burns.
Well, Michael Waltrip was afraid he was running out of gas, but they get to pit road just in time. Greg Osborne changing tires. Michael's fighting a push as well. One pattern there, back in all 4 tires for Michael Waltrip.
Elliott Sadler and Jimmy Spencer.
Great stop on Michael. Boy, that team is really on it today, Larry.
Spencer getting his work done as Ricky Rudd will come back to the lead. Now, when they come back here in July on Thursday in Berwick, 40 miles away, Jimmy's hometown, he's going to have a little charity golf tournament up there.
I wonder if he'll be doing any gardening. A little garden party, maybe?
Ricky Rudd has gone back to the top of the leaderboard with 40 laps to go in the Pocono 500.
Fox welcomes you back at the Pocono 500. 14 lead changes, 11 leaders, and undergoing the recent pit stops with just 37 laps to go. Let's take a look at the Busch point standings. And Jack Sprague, who was the winner last night, a big win, an emotional win for him. Your points leader followed by Jason Keller, Greg Biffle, currently running 4th, Bobby Hamilton Jr. running 5th. Craftsman Truck Series standings, sponsored by Sears. David Starr, your leader, followed by Rick Crawford, the veteran Ted Musgrave, Jason Leffler, currently running 5th. We'll get back to the final 100 miles at the Pocono 500 in just a moment. You got a look at the leader.
With under 100 miles to race, we are on record pace here at Pocono. Alan Kulwicki in 92 set the record, 144 miles an hour, and that may hold up as caution flies for the 4th time today. Debris on the racetrack in turn 3. Dale Earnhardt Jr. in position to get a lap back from race leader Ricky Rudd as they come around to caution.
It's a big break for Jeff Gordon, too, guys, because he was just a few seconds from going a lap down.
Well, it's a big break for all those cars that can't make it on fuel. They can come to pit road and fill up with fuel now.
You know, Larry, I know you get angry with me for saying this, but I just didn't think we were going to have to worry about that fuel window.
Did you throw something out on that racetrack?
I have. And somebody may have.
I got to back him up, folks. During commercial, Darrell says, well, you know, there could be just one more caution, and I think there's going to be one. And here we are.
But now what I would say, since we pretty much know Mark Martin, Dave Blaney, Elliott Sadler, Michael Waltrip can make it, I would predict those guys with only about 8 or 9 laps on their tires very well may stay out, try to keep that track position here with about 30 laps to go possibly.
That's not a bad call. You could talk me into that.
Talk you into not getting tired? A first.
I'd be asking now, how many laps you say have I run?
Quickly, we do need to talk about Jeremy Mayfield. 2 of his 3 wins here. He retired right before this mad dash of pit stops with engine failure with his 19 car.
Oh, before pit stops, I got a great one for you. Guess what else we haven't done today?
Oh no. Pit Boys trivia.
I hadn't heard the music.
But I'd say after this set of pit stops, we'll probably do it.
Don't get nervous and
put your thinking cap on. This is a good one.
They get.
You thought last night's was something?
Yeah.
This is a good one. 32 laps to go. Caution is out for debris, so they'll be able to clean that up quickly. The pits should be open. We'll see if the flag changes this time by. And here the drivers will follow into the pits. Ricky Rudd, Dale Jarrett, and Mark Martin, who is the 5th place car. The pits are open.
And we'll pay close attention now with a little pointer on the 6th car to see if that pointer stays on the racetrack possibly.
First 3 are in. Elliott's in, Martin's in, Marlin.
They're going to buy some insurance here, Larry. That's just a little insurance policy. Get 2, top up, don't have to worry.
Nick Berggren.
Car 28, Ricky Rudd, 4,800 in second gear, down on pit road. He needed this stop very badly, could not have made it to the end. On the fuel he had, they're going to put 4 tires in to Steve Burns.
This car 88 is in. They will make a chassis adjustment. 2 rounds, 3 rounds on the 88 of Dale Jarrett. Right side tires on, left side tires going on. Let's go to Matt Yoakum.
Dale Jarrett, the 6th car, Mark Martin will take out 4 tires. It's 99. The 88, the 28 are all going to beat the 6th car out.
Well, I do know that Rusty took 2 tires. I watched him. I believe Sterling took 2 tires.
And Jeff Burton beats them all on pit road.
Pretty much know it. Best I could tell, Darrell, Mike, all of the leaders came to pit road. They at least took the fuel and at least 2 tires, so we know everybody can make it from here.
Well, already we're wrong. It's the Radio Shack trivia. When we come back, what driver won the Winston Cup but didn't win a race until furthest into the season? Welcome back to Pocono, finishing up the 4th caution of the day and our Radio Shack trivia. What driver waited the longest to win the first race of his championship season?
Well, I don't know.
I've not a clue. I just don't know.
Matt Yoakum had it right. It was 1961, and it went 26 races before who won his championship?
Who was it,
won his
Matt?
first race, Matt? Matt's getting info, so we'll tell you.
Well,
Ned Jarrett.
Here's the thing, though. I think we ought to at least keep it in the modern era.
Well,
because I was still in high school in 1961.
And I was only 2.
Let's go to page 2 then. Here are the other drivers who took a while to win that first race in their championship season. Benny Parsons didn't win until July.
That would have been my guess.
Neither did Herb Thomas, Joe Weatherly, Bobby Isaac. 14 races before he went to victory lane in his championship season, 1970. Let's go to something a little more current, Larry.
Yeah, let's talk about what went on pit road now. Let's look at our pit stop efficiency graphic. If you look at Bill Elliott, real loser right there. 4th to 12th, long pit stop, long road time. Darrell, you and I were talking. It almost makes you believe they've made a major adjustment on that race car. Ricky Rudd, he went from 1st to 4th, but what's a little bit deceiving, decent pit stop, different road time. The reason he went from 1st to 4th, we have Jeff Burton in the 99 that did gas only. We have Sterling Marlin, Tony Stewart, Rusty Wallace, those guys that did 2 tires on him.
And you know what I like about Sterling Marlin? We saw him take 2 tires earlier today.
His car was pretty good.
It was pretty darn good.
Pretty good. Dave Blaney as well just took 2 tires in the 77 car.
Ford, Dodge, Pontiac, Ford, Chevrolet. Ford, Chevy, the top 10. Dick Berggren.
Well, Dave Blaney really didn't want to make that stop, Mike. He was one of the few people who could have gone all the way on the fuel that he had. Meanwhile, Ricky Rudd, his crew saved the best for last. The way they had it timed, 13.52. That's how long it took for 2 cans of gas and 4 tires. Wow.
Well, that'll make up for that miscue last week. Now, Jeff Burton is our race leader. He was 7th before the caution came out, 20 seconds back of the lead. Now, he will take the restart green out front.
This is when I want to see nothing in front of me, because I'm telling you what, when you got good track position here, sitting in the driver's seat, buddy.
Look at our Fox track, 65 miles an hour. And took the green flag, start-finish line, about like a while ago. We watched it about 130, 135 miles an hour down this long front straightaway.
Because look what happened. Look at all those lap cars that got between Sterling and Ricky Rudd. Those lap cars get in between them, and those front guys drive off.
It's going to make it really tough on Rudd, Rusty Wallace, Michael Waltrip, Dale Jarrett, Mark Martin to try to get back to the front. There's Jarrett slicing to the inside in the middle of the Long Pond Straight.
Yeah, you got to go now. You can't hold back.
And here's Rusty. Same move.
Rusty with just 2 tires, 2 right side tires. Steve Burke.
Hey, Larry Mack, just want to make a correction on that last pit stop. Dale Jarrett, I said they made a wedge adjustment. They actually raised the track bar on the right side.
Tells me just a little bit tight, Steve, so they wanted to raise that track bar 1 round equals a quarter inch and make that car turn through the middle and off the corner.
Well, he was pretty good before they made that adjustment. That could be just what he needs to win this race. They have to get through some of this heavy track.
Ricky Rudd in third, trying to get back to the front. But lap cars push around Johnny Benson.
And you see the 99 car just driving away. Can't let him get too far away.
Now, I mean, he just ran 56.97 because he has no one to fight him. Ricky Rudd, probably a little faster race car, 57.40 back in traffic.
Rudd went way to the bottom and goes 3 wide on Benson and Labonte. And here's Mark Martin trying to make it happen.
3 wide of work till they get in that corner. Then they have to be 2 wide, just too narrow.
Get up on that outside like that, and you just don't have the grip out there that you have down low.
This is a battle for 7th. Again, both these cars we felt like was 2 cars that could have made it on fuel had it not been for that caution flag.
And both cars are pretty good. I mean, Mark's got a car good enough to get up there and win the race.
If he can get there. Now, last lap, Mark was 2.3 seconds off the lead. This time, he's 3.2 seconds off the lead. But traffic is hurting these fellas trying to get back to the front. Boy, it's helping Jeff Burton.
Yeah, those lap cars in between the leader and these cars you're trying to get through there is making it tough.
Guys, just to tell you how being out front is good, Jeff Burton just ran the fastest lap of his race on lap 174, which is the lap we just run.
Yes.
55.25 out there in that clean air.
And he's looking back, and he can barely see those guys back there, but he's loving every bit of it.
And I think what he'd love to see is Sterling Marlin race Ricky Rudd for about another 15 laps or so of racing Marlin.
Yeah, well, Rudd's got 4 tires, so he's going to be pretty hard to hold off. Sterling's going to have a hard time with 2 tires, holding off those 4, I think. Rudd gets it run, looks to the inside. I think he's going to be able to make... No, he ducks back in. He couldn't quite get there.
25 laps to go.
Oh, Sterling pushes up high. Rudd's going to get second. Or is he?
Well, you know, he can run that low line because he's just got a little bit more grip. Rudd does. Sterling has to kind of let his car slide up the hill a little bit with just those 2 tires.
And here comes Jarrett against Tony Stewart for 4th.
No contest.
Jarrett has 4 tires.
No contest. A lot of smoke under the hood there.
Larry, would you have taken 2 tires with 30 laps to run?
That's a long way to go. You know, again, we watch week after week. We watched it last week at Dover. We see it all the time. Track position limit. 30 laps here, Darrell, that's a long way, 2.5-mile racetrack.
Well, it really is, and particularly this late in the race when the grip is at a premium. It'd be hard to give up those 4 tires. Like I said, though, you could talk me into it.
Bill Elliott to the right side, to the inside. Elliott is stuck in 11th place. Battling Dave Blaney. Nothing there. He's got Bobby Labonte, who's laps down, 2 laps down, to his outside.
Yeah, that slow stop just really put Bill back in there where he's going to have a tough time working his way anywhere near the front.
And just to give you an example, Ricky Rudd in clean air now, he ran a half a second quicker than Jeff Burton in last lap.
Yeah, I can visibly see him closing the gap down the back straightaway.
All right, as we go to break, Jeff Burton has a 1-second lead on Ricky Rudd. 2 seconds on 4th place Dale Jarrett. We'll recheck that margin when we come back.
21 laps to go at the Pocono Raceway, and Ricky Rudd, your leader, Moments ago, we had our 16th lead change. 12 different leaders as Ricky Rudd, the defending champion, Jeff Hammond, made his move on Jeff Burton.
Yeah, I believe the 4 tires right now are starting to play out right. They put on the 28 cars. He's able to drive it down underneath the 99 car of Burton and make his move and regain the lead one more time.
And, of course, Ricky Rudd, his 658th consecutive Winston Cup race, adding to his record. And fresh tires here for Dale Jarrett, the teammate of Ricky Rudd, part of the Yates racing team.
Yeah, really, Chris, I believe that could be who's going to be the guys for the race right now based on that situation right there. And we look at the pits and see that Bill Elliott's got some kind of problem under the hood. More than likely, at this late part of the race, it could be an injury-related situation.
15 races since Bill Elliott's last win, and he was a part of the veteran group that led much of the second half of this race. But Ricky Rudd currently leading, and Dale Jarrett second, Jeff Burton running third. A couple of Roush cars up there. Martin fifth, Sterling Marlin, your points leader fourth.
I can tell by the look on the crew member's face that when he looked up underneath the 9 car of Elliott's that there is definitely something wrong. He can't be prepared. It looks like his day is done.
All right, briefly, 19 laps to go. Jeff Rudd, is this the kind of position, again, the defending champ here, that would you make him the favorite at this point to hold on?
Well, it looks to me like right now his teammate Dale Jarrett is closing pretty quick, but Ricky's pretty smart. He knows he needs to save a little bit right here. Still got a little ways to go. So if it comes time to pass it, it may be kind of hard to do. It's going to be a great racer as we go through the end.
Let's check in with Dick Berggren, who's the crew chief, Fatback. I feel more comfortable saying Michael McSwain. Dick?
Well, after a tough start today, Ricky Rudd seems to have everything going his way. They overheated early. They got that problem corrected. They've managed to restore the lead. They are back out front with a lead of 1.2 seconds. Michael, is this race in the bag?
Ain't no way, man. A second place car, it's a good car. We really work together as a team on this one. This one we got to beat, it's him. And the way our luck's been this year, nothing's in the bag. They hand me another trophy up there.
Stick around, this one's not over.
2 cars are gaining on Ricky Rudd, Dale Jarrett and Mark Martin. When we went to break, it was a 1-second lead, but it was Jeff Burton over Ricky Rudd. When we came back, Ricky Rudd over Dale Jarrett, Jeff Burton, Sterling Marlin, and this man, Mark Martin, the Charlotte winner.
And I will say the last 2 laps, Dale Jarrett has been about a 10th and a half a lap quicker than his teammate Ricky Rudd. But guys, this is 2 weeks in a row that finally, it took 13 races, the 2 Robert Yates racing cars up there running 1-2. Did it at Dover last week for several laps, and here they are again today in the closing laps.
And don't forget, you get a little draft here, so Jarrett is getting some effect off of Ricky's car, and he's going to be able to chase him down, I believe.
Yeah, just look at the interval, how much the interval is shrinking there in the right-hand corner.
Jarrett's got a good race car, and then he's getting a little help down these straightaways with the draft, and he's going to get there. The question is, how do they decide?
Let's go to Dale Jarrett's pit, Steve.
And with Todd Parrott, Todd, you guys have had a great race car all day. You put on 4 tires. Can you catch your teammate?
He's been awfully good all day. You know, they had a great car as soon as they unloaded off the truck. They were really fast, and had to change a motor, start the tail end of the field, and Ricky just drove that thing through the field. They've had a great car. We've got a great car. Track position's real important right now, and they'll just do all they can do, and may the best man win. Good luck. Thank you.
Bill Elliott's car being pushed to the garage, engine problems, terminal.
So that's 2 of the Ray Evernham cars that fell out of the race with the engine problem.
I got to give a call to my little brother, guys. He's up there in 8th place, and he's had a whale of a good day, too, here at Pocono.
Jeff Gordon, 9th. Rusty Wallace rounds the top 10. We started the day talking about silly season. Ricky Rudd's contract expires as we had a look at Michael Waltrip, whose contract is also up the end of this year. Mark Martin making the move on Sterling Marlin, so we'll get back to that in a second. This is for 4th place.
And again, remember, Mark has 4 tires, Sterling has 2 tires. It's really starting to take over here after about 15 laps on this run.
But what you saw there was Sterling backing out the throttle just a teeny bit and letting Mark get by because he didn't want to race him off in the corner. Cost both of them a bunch of time.
Now, Ricky Rudd has asked Robert Yates for a deadline of June 15th for him to decide on next year. Larry, if he had to decide today,
I would say they may have signed the contract on the last pit stops. That may be one reason he fell back a few positions.
Yeah. Driver happy, signed contract.
15 laps to go in the Pocono 500 on Fox, presented by Subway. Stick around for the finish. 12 laps to go in Pennsylvania, and we're going to have 2 good battles. This is the first of them for the lead. Dale Jarrett is picking up a 1/10 or 2/10 of a second every lap. on leader Ricky Rudd. And back at 7th place, Jeff Gordon is doing the same on Tony Stewart for 7th.
And 12 laps here is about 12 minutes. So Rudd's got to sit there for about 12 minutes and wonder if that 88's going to catch him. And I got bad news for him. He's going to catch him. I don't know if he's going to get by him or not. And the 24 car's been on a tear, too.
Moments ago, Jeff Burton pulling up to get a little draft off Bobby Hamilton, who goes left as Burton was going left. Log jam.
And boy, what you have here, you have the 99 with no tires, the 40 with 2 tires, the 48 with 4 tires. And the reason Bobby Hamilton was so slow there, he went down a cylinder, started running on 7 cylinders a few laps ago into 55.
Jeff Gordon has passed Tony Stewart. That's for 7th place. Gordon pulling away.
Gordon restarted in like 15, 16 spot in those 4 tires, and the adjustments they made on that car, I mean, he has been on a tear.
He could use another caution, Darrell. He's about 11 seconds behind our leader, Ricky Rudd, right now.
He's got no chance of winning, but at this point anyway. But I'm sure he's kicking himself right now for what happened coming into the pits, because he's got a car capable of winning this race.
Our 3-point leaders all in the top 7 positions. Sterling Marlin, who leads in the points, is 5th. Jimmy Johnson is 4th. Jeff Gordon is 7th. There won't be a lot of change in the point margins leaving here, though Matt Kenseth had problems with behind the wall. He came in here 4th in points, and he'll lose.
And the Jeff Gordon that we've seen year in and year out here for the last several years, that was almost flawless, spun out leading the race at Bristol all by himself. Comes in the pit lane today all by himself and spins out on pit road. So, I think people have a right to question about, what's going on with the 24 car.
See Ricky Rudd doing that little bit of snake down the Long Pond straightaway there, trying to break the draft. Darrell, it's almost like 1 lap. Ricky runs a little quicker. 1 lap, Dale Jarrett in 88 runs a little quicker. You're looking at Dale Jarrett's car. Now, Dale has 2 wins here. This right here, this is a battle for 12th between Ricky Craven in the 32 and Dale Earnhardt Jr. in the 8 car.
Well, this track, we talked about it early on. It's real hitting your marks sensitive. You got to hit your marks to get around all 3 of these turns just right. And if you miss it a little bit, the guy behind you closes. Man, I tell you, Jarrett really closed up that time.
And Robbie Gordon in the 31, he's trying to figure out which one of these guys is going to make the pass. Neither one of them will make the 3 wide here. Hold down toward the turn 3. But he drove it in so deep he couldn't stay in it.
And that's a Robbie Gordon that maybe a year ago or maybe even earlier this year would have forced the issue. But he really used good judgment there. He gave Ricky Craven a break. It's going to help both of them.
Robbie Gordon has really matured this season as a Winston Cup driver. He's always had a lot of talent. Now he's got the maturity to go with it.
I believe that.
And right behind him, there's another good run for Kyle Petty, the 45 car. Of course, he has 1 win here, and he just keeps getting better as this year goes on.
Kyle says this is our zone right now, 11th to 20th place. We're right in that zone. Right now he's placed 15th. As Craven drops to the inside on Earnhardt Jr. Kyle is right there.
Yeah, see, when you set goals like that and they're not unrealistic, then you leave a racetrack feeling good about what you've done. If you come here and say we're going to win the race and you haven't even been close, then you're going to go home very disappointed.
Craven got the run on the inside, getting into turn 2, but he just couldn't complete it. Dale Earnhardt Jr. kept the momentum, and right here, looking out at Casey Atwood, he's there on the lead lap racing these guys. He's back there in 16th position. He had a good run at Dover last week.
Yeah, and your buddy, Tony Fern's done a really good job of turning that program around.
This is a 6-car battle for 12th place. You got Atwood there and Todd Bodine behind him. 2 by 2 and off into the corner.
Jarrett seems to really...
Whoa! Craven got up in front of Robbie Gordon. Got pretty sideways there.
And he lost all those positions. Now the car that's coming by him now, Jeff Green in the 30. Remember, he has a brake problem. He's a lot of laps.
He looks like he might have a problem. Anything wrong with the car, he might have a problem.
Yeah, restart my heart.
I think that's it. Uh-oh, the 31 car's got a problem now. 31 cars slowing, Larry. It looked like over here coming into turn 3.
Yeah, a bunch of cars going by.
I think he's got a tire down. Yeah, left front.
Right here. Coming now or stay out?
Woo, bud.
Maybe Robbie Gordon has a tire problem from that bump right there with Ricky Craven.
I think that's exactly what happened.
Now they're going to the left side.
Yeah, I think he cut down a left front, Larry, and it was the right front where the contact was. He fires out of the pits. Here comes the leader. They're putting a lap down. Great burnout.
Ricky Rudd is concerned about the possibility of a right rear going down, Mike. He just said right rear going down. This crew is on red alert down here. They're saying be careful.
Yeah, he's got a problem. Definitely got a tire down. Definitely got something wrong.
He lost a half a second there. You see Dale Jarrett, his teammate, right up behind him. Remember, looked like he had the car to beat last week and had that left rear tire loose.
He had his hand out the window there for a second. I'm not sure exactly if he was trying to motion Jarrett by or not. I think he's trying to tell him he thinks he has a problem.
For the lead. Dale Jarrett edges in front of his teammate.
That paper you see going out the window, that's that contract.
That's that contract for the last pit stop. Yeah.
And right now, he's about 4 seconds ahead of third place Mark Martin. So I'm sure what Ricky Rudd's going to try to do is make sure he has a problem. You know, he'd rather try to sit out there and make sure and nurse it home to second than come to pit road and lose all those positions.
And Fatback, he nailed it, didn't he? Fatback, you know, he said, I'm not going to celebrate until they hand me the trophy. There's definitely a problem on the 28, and if, you know, with 5 laps to go, I just don't see how he can nurse that thing home.
Well, Darrell, of course, winning is the goal. That's the object of every driver here. But knowing you're in contention to win and you've got a car capable of winning, that's got to give a driver a lift. But gosh, 2 weeks in a row for Ricky Rudd. Victory within his grasp, and he's not going to get it.
And I mean, just go a little further back to Richmond before the 2 weeks at Charlotte. I mean, it looked like he had that race won, and him and Rusty Wallace got together.
Yeah, they're running well. They're running certainly good enough to win. They just don't have any racing luck right now.
This is a battle for 12th right here. Casey Atwood, he's picked up 4 or 5 positions just in the last 3 or 4 laps.
This is the last Evernham car in the race. The Ultra Evernham Motorsports, Jim Smith, Ray Evernham. This number 7.
You know, there's a lot of cars that has gotten underneath Dale Earnhardt Jr. getting in the corner, but Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s car's working pretty good in the second groove in all the corners. He just can't complete the pass on them.
Hey, what a weekend for the Jarretts. Jason second yesterday in the ARCA race to Damon Lusk, the winner. And here's his father, Dale, who spotted for Jason yesterday from the top of the truck. In the lead with 3.5 to go. Rusty Wallace, Michael Waltrip fighting for ninth.
Dave Blaney in the 77, the yellow car right there behind him, lurking to see what's going to happen between these two.
Which always, it never fails here. Things change so quickly the last few laps of this race here at Pocono. Engine failures, people that make good calls on their pit stops.
And the folks in the grandstand, they know nobody's left.
That's right. And they're not standing up. They're all standing up.
Mark Martin has just gotten by and ailing Ricky Rudd for second place. And here comes Jimmy Johnson.
3 laps to go. Right now, Mark Martin's about 3 3/4 seconds behind Dale Jarrett. Dale Jarrett just needs to make sure he hits his marks. He has a pretty clean racetrack in front of him. Just needs to make sure he don't get himself in trouble.
And more tire smoke from Ricky Rudd as he let off the gas for turn 1.
To be able to continue on like he is, Larry, I got to think it's a left side tire, because if it was a right side tire, I think he would have had, I don't think he could have driven the car.
His lap times have fallen off about 3 seconds, Darrell, but that's still hauling the mail around here.
Yeah, I don't see anything down the left side. It looks clean. Tires all look okay. Maybe that right rear is getting soft.
3 to go. Step 2 as Jarrett crosses the stripe.
Right now, 5th place Sterling Marlin's about 2.5 seconds behind Ricky Rudd.
Jeff Gordon is all over the back of Sterling Marlin. Gordon has really done a great job of marching himself back to the top 5.
Yeah, he's going to get a top 5 finish out of this, Darrell, and he led the race early, led 30 laps, and then we counted him out.
Yeah, no, that unhooking the rear bar, that was a good call on the Robbie's part, got him back in rear. There's the 28.
It didn't make it. Yeah, he needed a caution, but he didn't intend on it being himself.
There's what's left of the tire. They'll get the white flag this time by.
We're still green, but I have to believe the caution will be thrown here.
The car is stopped.
Yeah, the caution and the white flag. So here's the race right here. Todd O'Neill in the 26. Looks like his motor's expiring. That's a Robert Yates engine.
Caution flag and the white. Dale Jarrett eases off the gas, and he'll just have to come around one slow lap to win it here in Pocono.
Mark Martin comes across the line in second. Jimmy Johnson in third. Sterling Marlin will beat Jeff Gordon back to the line for fourth.
Jeff Gordon fifth.
Still got to make it about 2 more miles, guys.
Yeah, because there's a car going down the back straightaway that's putting out a lot of smoke.
Todd Bodine. There won't be a mosquito left in Pennsylvania when he's done.
And he'll try to stay out there because he's still on the lead lap in 17th position.
Look at the veterans celebrating. Dale Jarrett and Mark Martin with a 1-2 finish here. And they'll make this last mile.
Absolutely.
This truck delivers.
And they know they have plenty of fuel. And, you know, I was mentioned earlier before he got some battles, Dale Jarrett has 2 wins here. The last one back in 1997, but his first win here in Pocono was in 1995 in the 28 car.
I'm telling you, what is the 28 team going to do? I mean, this is 3 races in a row.
One thing about it, the short chute and over through turn 2, we won't have no problem with mosquitoes.
There goes Rudd. He got his car fired back up, and he's going around with the car torn up right there.
Yeah, Rudd is actually going to complete all 200 laps.
There he goes. That right rear tire was the problem. Right rear tire was just getting soft, and it finally let go.
He's going to be in 18th place, assuming Todd Bodine makes it all the way around. So Ricky, he's not just out there for show. He could pick up a spot if Bodine's problems are, we know they're terminal, but if they prevent him from coming around under the caution. And Dale Jarrett will get his first June Pocono win. Hey, David Green, that sleepless night paid off. He's the spotter for the winning car today, as Dale Jarrett comes around behind the pace car for his 3rd Pocono win in his 31st start here in his first victory in the June race. Dale Jarrett wins the Pocono 500. Mark Martin finishes second. Rookie Jimmy Johnson third. Sterling Marlin and Jeff Gordon comes back for a top 5 finish.
I would say that is one happy group.
Waiting on the rest of the lead lap cars to see if Todd Bodine makes it around, and he does not. So Ricky Rudd, by firing that car and coming around, he actually picks up a spot and will finish 17th after being in the lead to win it with a handful of laps to go. And once again, it proves the old adage, it's never over till it's over. Don't leave that seat early. And we've got Victory Lane and lots more coming up. Welcome back to Pocono and our post-race show on Fox. Brought to you by Subway, where Dale Jarrett has picked up his 3rd Pocono win. Mark Martin, Jimmy Johnson, Sterling Marlin, Jeff Gordon, Jeff Burton, Tony Stewart, Michael Waltrip, Rusty Wallace, and Dave Blaney. That's our top 10 today. The first 18 cars credited with a lead lap finish. Herbie Sadler, the last car running and the last race on Junie Donlevy's car for the CF Sowers folks.
Mark, tell us about your run. Pretty good day.
And back through the rest of the field.
Bill Elliott had a great car all day and then had trouble right there at the end. It's unfortunate for Bill because he really looked good all day long.
4 caution flags, 3 crashes, and 1 debris caution. And it's the first Pocono win in the June race here for Dale Jarrett. Here's Matt.
Well, Ricky, how do you describe the frustration and disappointment?
I don't know that you can describe it. You know, it's 2 weeks in a row, 3 weeks. Gosh, I lost count. But, you know, we're just sitting out front. Just I thought we were in great shape, hoping him some daylight on DJ. You know, he wasn't catching us. Looked like it was going to be a 1-2 Yates finish. Looked like 28 was going to win. And all of a sudden, I said, hey guys, I got a slow leak. I got a flat tire. And we tried to stay on the racetrack, and maybe I should have slowed down a little bit more. Finally came apart and hit the fence down in turn 1.
Thanks for your time, Rick. Mike?
Ricky Rudd, for the 3rd time in the last half dozen races, close, so close to where this man sits, our Circuit City winner circle.
Yeah, you know, great composure on Ricky's part. I know he feels like Fatback did last week when he slapped the toolbox. I'm sure he'd like to slap something, but really held his composure well. And there's a guy that I love to see Dale Jarrett win, because there's not a nicer guy that's ever been in racing. And
29th Winston Cup victory for Jarrett. Dick Bergman's with him.
Attaboy, DJ. Job well done. This suit is absolutely soaked with the salt of perspiration. 5 times in a row this June race, Dale Jarrett has finished either second or third. Today, finally, you win it. What was the difference between those 5 times and today?
Well, let's start off by saying we had a great race car. Thanks UPS, Coca-Cola, Fleetwood, Ford Motor Company, and Ford Credit, everybody that makes this happen. Robert Yates Racing. These guys behind me, they give me a great race car. This is a brand new car, but yeah, I'm really hating it right now. I'm glad to be here, but my teammate's having some terrible luck right now. Ricky Rudd, he did a great job last week, got himself in a position to win, then had the unfortunate problem with the tire, and then today here. Don't think I could have caught him. We were just so equal, and it's really hard when you're trying to run down another Robert Yates engine, and makes it difficult. But hate it for those guys. But these guys have worked hard on this car. We went to Kentucky with it this week and ran over there. We appreciate them letting us come over.
How important was that test, DJ?
Very important. We learned some things there that we applied here. It was great that we had time. We were there till we had some rain. We were there till 10:30 that night. We got home at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Just shows the dedication of these guys. And say hi to my family back home. It's been a big weekend for the Jarrett family so far. Both my daughters have been leading scorer in their basketball games. They've won those. Zachary had a home run and a triple yesterday in his baseball game. Jason finished second yesterday here, so it kind of tops it off right here.
Nice family deserves to win, Dale Jarrett. Enjoy this victory. Let's go to Mike Joy.
Thanks, Dick. In the point standings, Dale Jarrett came in here 13th. He doesn't quite break the top 10. Jimmy Johnson didn't eat much into Sterling Marlin's lead here. In fact, they are the same as they came to Pocono, 136 points apart. We'll have more interviews from Pocono when we come back.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you can just hold on to your seats for a few minutes if you'd like to enjoy the Victory Lane interview. We'll have that for you in just a moment as it's a media frenzy down in Victory Circle. So just a few moments, we'll have words from your winner, Dale Jarrett.
Well, I think we're headed in the right direction for sure. Todd Parrish, and he's got these guys working extremely hard and in the right direction. And, we probably have some building to do yet, but this is certainly a good start.
They got the drivers to get it done. That's Dale Jarrett, and he wins the Pocono 500.
His 29th career victory in NASCAR Winston Cup racing and becomes the 9th different winner in the 2002 season as Dale Jarrett wins the Pocono 500.
Fox welcomes you back to Pocono and the Subway post-race show. With 6 laps to go, Dale Jarrett passing teammate Ricky Rudd, who had tire problems. And Jarrett, the winner at age 45, the oldest winner this year. Jeff Gordon wound up 5th today, 3rd in points overall. He's standing by with our Steve Burns. Steve?
Chris, thanks a lot, Jeff. Top 5. Always a good day in this series. Tell us what happened on pit road.
Oh, man, what a funky day we had. Started out, car was great, and then it got real loose and lost a lot of track position working our way back up there. Car was getting a lot better. We're tightening it up. come on pit road under green, and the brake pedal just kind of went to the floor, and I had hustled it down in there pretty good, and I just didn't have enough brake to slow it down, and then I had to try to slow it down to keep from speeding on pit road. Threw it in the second, wheel hopped and just lost it. Pretty embarrassing. I couldn't even get it started, and I don't know how we didn't lose a lap, but thank God we came back up there and got a top 5. That was a great effort by a great team, and who knows what would have happened if we hadn't spun down pit road.
Good job, Jeff. Let's go to Dick Bergeron.
Well, 3 weeks ago at Lowe's Motor Speedway, Mark Martin won. Then last week he was a contender before crashing. Today he's second. How about that? Is that a pretty good team or what?
It's the best, man. These guys are incredible on pit road, and they're giving me great race cars. They fought so hard today. We started the race. We missed the setup a little bit today, and they fought hard. In the last 3 sets of tires, we were pretty hooked up and ran real well. They did all their homework, and we were set to go on fuel mileage, and we had that mysterious debris caution down there. It was too bad. I mean, we could have won the race under those conditions, but to finish second is really awesome, too, because, we weren't that great today, and the guys just dug in, fought hard, and pulled out a great finish.
Nice job. Congratulations to Chris Myers.
All right, thanks, Dick, and thanks, Mark. We were all kind of wondering, too, about that mystery caution. But Dale Jarrett, your winner in Pocono, and we'll be back to wrap things up from the Hollywood Hotel. Our crew getting ready to head home. Stick around. We'll be back on Fox in a moment.
Dale, the presenting of winner's trophy, Congressman Sherwood. Dale, it gives me great pleasure to deliver this trophy to somebody with a little gray hair. Congratulations!
His victory lane celebrations continue. Dale Jarrett getting his picture taken. A very special presentation of a very special trophy. See the representatives from the U.S. Air Force coming down to get their picture taken with Dale Jarrett, your winner of the Pocono 500.
And there's a look at Dale Jarrett, his first victory of this season, 29th career Winston Cup win with Jeff Hammond to wrap things up in the Hollywood Hotel. By the way, Mark Martin, that debris on the caution flag in Turn 3 was metal, apparently, officially we're told, from a car. You said experience coming in. It was the veterans at the top, Dale Jarrett in the end, Mark Martin finishing second.
Exactly, and the one thing else I liked about the deal today is these guys have turned their years around. Dale Jarrett struggled early on, along with Todd Parrott, made changes in their team, now got themselves back competitive, along with Mark Martin, who's already already got a victory this year, but struggled all last year. It's nice to see these veterans back up there and being competitive once again.
First win for Robert Yates of Motors. Let's go upstairs for some final thoughts from the guys in the booth. Guys?
I agree, Chris. Great day for experience.
It really was, and that's the way this racetrack is. You got to know how to run 500 miles here. Pit stops, fuel strategy, everything comes into play here. Veterans prevail.
But you know what, guys? Third place finisher, Jimmy Johnson, right there in the middle of all those veterans. He's there week in and week out. It don't seem to matter what type of racetrack we're at.
All right, let's go trackside, Matt Yoakum.
Last fall, Dale Earnhardt Jr. scored a second, nearly winning here at Pocono, and a hard-fought 12th today, DJ.
Yeah, I guess we couldn't really get the car to work that well, but we just needed to finish, man. We've had such bad luck over the last 4 weeks, so we ran decent at times, but it's a good. I love this track. You race all over it, and it's fun. And we had to race real hard to get 12th there at the end, but good job for the guys. They worked real hard and just come up real short.
Feel like you guys are getting that groove back?
I don't think this says we're getting the groove back, but I don't know. We're having fun. That's all that matters. As long as we're having a good time.
Dale Earnhardt Jr. having fun, finishes 12th here at Pocono.
All right, thanks. 10 cars out of the race, 5 due to engine failure. And as we look to next week in Michigan, Jeff Gordon, who hasn't won yet this year, the defending champ, made a nice rally to finish in the top 5 here.
He really did, and we're going to another racetrack where he's always a contender. No matter, I don't care where you go, Chris, that gentleman can drive a race car, and sooner or later, they're going to figure out what it's going to take to get him into victory lane, along with guys like Ricky Rudd. They're consistently doing it every week, get up in the top 5, leading races. They'll get to victory lane before long.
And both are in the top 10 in points, racing across the Fox networks next weekend. On Friday, Winston Cup qualifying on Fox Sports Net. Saturday, Winston Cup practice on FX, followed by the Kroger 300 presented by Oreo from Kentucky. That's on FX. Sunday, start your day with NASCAR this morning, presented by Smirnoff Ice on Fox Sports Net, followed by NASCAR Winston Cup Series Racing, presented by Circuit City on Fox, and a full wrap-up on NASCAR Victory Lane All Access. John Andretti, part of that, and Speed Channel, the home of NASCAR TV. Nothing gets you closer to NASCAR. UPS, the official delivery company of NASCAR, delivers a chance to win 4 tickets to the 2003 Daytona 500 on Fox by logging on to foxsports.com, keyword UPS Racing. And on a Sunday, the guy who sometimes could drive the big brown truck delivers in his UPS 4, Dale Jarrett with the win. It was a hot, sunny day in northeastern Pennsylvania. First half of the race, Jeff Gordon led for a while. Ryan Newman led in the 500-mile race. One time in this honeymoon resort area, taking its toll as the honeymoon was over in a hurry after a number of shift changes. It was the experienced crowd controlling the second half. Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd, and Dale Jarrett. But in the end, Dale Jarrett in his UPS 4 delivering with the victory. Be with us next Sunday for the race at Michigan. For the gang all here, I'm Chris Myers. Thanks for watching NASCAR on Fox. Have a good week. We'll see you next week. Take care.